NBC Sports presents the 1979 All-Star Game from Seattle's Kingdome. It's the All-Stars of the National League versus the best of the American League. The 1979 All-Star Game is brought to you by Chrysler Corporation. See the mileage makers at your Dodge or Chrysler Plymouth dealers. And by the newest member of Gillette's All-Star Team, foamy tropical coconut shave cream. Every shave is like a trip to the tropics. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Polaroid, makers of the SX70 Sonar, the world's smartest camera. This is the Kingdome. You're looking at the top of the Kingdome, and it is loaded with all-stars and loaded with excitement. It is described as a hitter's ballpark. As you look down the left field line, 316 feet. Towards center field, 410. We look at the power alleys, 357. It is a hitter's park. Look at that stat. 1979 home runs at the Kingdome, 131 in 54 games played. It should be an exciting night. Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Garagiola. Alongside me, Tony Kubek and Tom Seaver. Yes, the emphasis is on hitting, and that's all we heard. That's all we saw. They were hitting them out of here like shots, launching them. In fact, I thought Lou Brock said it best during batting practice yesterday when he said, I found myself doing things I hadn't done in a long time, taking everything deep in batting practice. They weren't satisfied with just hitting them in the seats. How far could they hit them? So they are really putting on a power display in batting practice. Will that happen in the ball game? And Tony, with that lineup, I gotta believe it will.
Well, Joe, there has been an emphasis on power because both teams are power-laden. Some people feel maybe there's too much emphasis on power, and I'm sure the pitchers are some of them. If people came out here today before the ball game and had the chance as we did, you saw these three men power the ball to all parts of this ballpark. They are the National League starting outfield, Winfield, Foster, and Dave Parker. They also have on this starting lineup Mike Schmidt, the Major League's home run leader with 31. On the other side of the diamond, well, Freddie Lynn, an MVP in 75. His partner, Jimmy Rice, last year's MVP. Also in that lineup, a man who will finally get his chance to show the kind of player he is, Don Baylor. But, Joe, I've got to believe that if this is going to be a big scoring ball game, the little guys are going to have to get on to be driven home by the big guys. I also noticed one other thing yesterday and today. The pitchers are very quietly steaming because they've had to shag a lot of those balls.
Well, I tell you what, the pitchers are not locking themselves in the clubhouse. They're going to be out there. And, Tom, what about it from the pitcher's standpoint? What would you do hearing all this about the hitting?
Well, certainly, Joe, you got to think at an all-star game, the pitching has got to be up to par with the hitting. I'm telling you what the National League is going to have to face. They're going to have to face the best fastball probably to come into the major leagues since Sandy Koufax. Nolan Ryan can officially get it to home plate. Overpowering fastball, outstanding curveball. If he does have a problem, he has a problem with wildness, base on balls. But he is probably the most overpowering pitcher in baseball today. For the National League, a real veteran, Steve Carlton, has been the workhorse for the Philadelphia Phillies for the last few years. A two-time Cy Young Award winner, a real good fastball, and a nasty slider. His outpitch is going to be a slider. He'll be throwing it down and in to those right-handed hitters on the American League. Two fine pitchers starting for both teams tonight.
Okay, well, I once heard a Pittsburgh pitcher, Bob Veal, say something I can never understand. We might get the answer tonight. He said, good pitching will stop good hitting, or vice versa. We'll see tonight. Right now, let's find out about these players. We go to the public address announcer, Gary Spinell.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet the participants in this 50th All-Star Game. First, the stars from the National League. Here's the man who led the Los Angeles Dodgers to 2 pennants in his first 2 years, National League manager Tom Lasorda. Our first All-Star player won the starting catching assignment, but a broken wrist will sideline him tonight. From the St. Louis Cardinals, catcher Ted Simmons. Batting first, playing at second base, one of baseball's finest infielders, the Dodger captain, Dave Lopes. The most valuable player in the National League last year from the Pittsburgh Pirates, right fielder Dave Parker.
Dave Parker is the franchise, a complete player. Tell you, hear about his hitting and tremendous power, but he's a great defensive player with a strong arm. And plays like this one are pretty common for Dave Parker, the franchise.
Hitting third, two-time All-Star MVP from the Los Angeles Dodgers, first baseman Steve Garvey.
Garvey was the most valuable player last year's All-Star game at San Diego. In 5 All-Star games, he has hit .500. Many consider Garvey the most reliable player in the National League. He plays every day. He's usually in the middle of all the Dodger rallies, and while the Dodgers are crumbling, Garvey just goes on and on with his consistency.
Hitting cleanup, the Major League home run leader with 31 from the Philadelphia Phillies, Mike Schmidt.
Well, the epitome of a streak hitter, a hot hitter in the National League is Mike Schmidt, and then when he's hot, he is really on fire. He recently set a Major League record, hit 4 home runs in a row. Great power to all fields, can hit the ball out any part of the ballpark.
Batting fifth, playing in left field, the National League's Player of the Month in April and June. He's on his way toward a record-breaking 4th consecutive RBI title, the Cincinnati Reds' George Foster. The current National League leader in total bases from the San Diego Padres, center fielder Dave Winfield. Hitting 7th, Philadelphia's fine catcher, Bob Boone. Batting 8th, now a 5-time All-Star, Philadelphia's shortstop, Larry Boa.
This might have been the toughest position you fans had to vote for in the National League, but day in and day out, Boa is the most consistent shortstop in baseball. He owns the highest lifetime fielding percentage for a shortstop in Major League history, and last season he made just 10 errors.
The pitcher now warming up at the bullpen, a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, Philadelphia's Steve Carlton. Introducing the remainder of the National League All-Star squad. The National League coaches, Philadelphia manager Danny Ozark. And from Pittsburgh, manager Chuck Tanner. The National League trainer from the San Francisco Giants, Joe Licio. Representing the Atlanta Braves, outfielder Gary Matthews. From the Chicago Cubs, pitcher Bruce Sutter. Cincinnati Reds, second baseman Joe Morgan. Pitcher Mike Lacasse. Representing the Houston Astros, shortstop Craig Reynolds.
Reynolds, a former Seattle Mariner.
Joe Niekro. And Joaquin Andujar. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, third baseman Ron Cey. The Montreal Expos representatives, catcher Gary Carter. Third baseman Larry Parrish. Pitcher Steve Rogers. From the New York Mets, catcher John Stearns. Outfielder Lee Mazzilli. From the Philadelphia Phillies, first baseman Pete Rose. Representing the St. Louis Cardinals, outfielder Lou Brock. First baseman Keith Hernandez. From the San Diego Padres, pitcher Gaylord Perry. And from the San Francisco Giants, outfielder Jack Clark. And now let's welcome the American League All-Stars. The manager, a Hall of Fame pitcher, and the winning 1978 World Series manager, Bob Lemon. Although unable to play tonight because of injuries, please welcome the all-time All-Star vote getter, the California Angels first baseman, Rod Carew. Leading off for the American League, a first-time All-Star, Minnesota Twins shortstop Roy Smalley.
Here's a man who's worked hard to improve each year since coming to the major leagues. Last season, his manager and uncle, Gene Mock, suggested a few hitting tips for him, and they've really helped him out.
Batting second, a lifetime 300 hitter, Kansas City Royals third baseman, George Brett. Hitting third, the power-hitting left fielder from the division-leading California Angels, Don Baylor. Hitting in the cleanup position, one of the league's bright young superstars, Boston left fielder Jim Rice. From the Boston Red Sox, the league's leading home run hitter, center fielder Fred Lynn.
Fred Lynn is having the same kind of a year that he had in 1975 when he became the first player ever to be the most valuable player and rookie of the year in the same season. He can do it all. Diving, sliding, making the play. Fred Lynn.
Batting sixth, one of the greats of our game for 2 decades, Boston first baseman Carl Yastrzemski.
There's the senior man of the All-Star game, his 16th selection for the American League All-Star squad. Carl's been moved to first base for this All-Star game from the outfield. He was elected in the outfield, and this is a catch against Johnny Bench in the 1969 All-Star game at Washington, D.C.
Hitting in the 7th position, Kansas City's hard-hitting pitcher, Darrell Porter. At second base, a 2-time Gold Glove winner, Kansas City's Frank White.
This might be the American League's deepest position. Since coming to the Major League, White has been known for the magic in his glove, but last season he became a consistent hitter. He does the little things that go unnoticed to win ball games. He can steal a base, he can bunt, he can hit and run.
And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen, the Major League strikeout leader and the author of 4 career no-hitters, California's Nolan Ryan. Introducing the remainder of the American League All-Star squad. The American League coaches, Texas Ranger manager Pat Corrales. The manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, Roy Hartsfield. And from the Seattle Mariners, their manager, Darrell Johnson. The American League trainers, Boston's Charlie Moss. And Seattle's Gary Nicholson. Representing the Baltimore Orioles, pitcher Don Stanhouse. Outfielder Ken Singleton. From the Boston Red Sox, shortstop Rick Burleson. Pitcher Bob Stanley. From the California Angels, second baseman Bobby Critch. The catcher Brian Downing. Pitcher Mark Clear. From the Chicago White Sox, outfielder Chet Lemon. Representing the Cleveland Indians, pitcher Sid Manji. From the Detroit Tigers, left fielder Steve Kemp. Milwaukee Brewer, first baseman Cecil Cooper. Representing the New York Yankees, third baseman Greg Nettles. Pitchers Tommy John. And Ron Guidry. Outfielder Reggie Jackson. From the Oakland A's, catcher first baseman Jeff Newman. Texas Ranger pitcher Jim Kern. Toronto Blue Jay pitcher Dave Lemanchik. And from the host, Seattle Mariners, first baseman Bruce Bochy.
What a tremendous thrill for that youngster, but we're in for a treat right now. Two of the greatest pitchers of all time, Hall of Famers, have been named honorary captains. Carl Hubble on the left and Lefty Gomez.
Fans, tonight's honorary captains played in the first All-Star game in 1933. Representing the National League is the man best remembered for a performance in the 1934 game when he struck out in order Hall of Famers Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin. A Hall of Famer himself, Carl Hubble. The American League's honorary captain had the distinction of starting that first All-Star game, driving in the first run and getting credit for the first of his record 3 All-Star victories. Another Hall of Famer, Lefty Gomez. And now to honor America, the award-winning Navy Sea Cadet Color Guard presents the colors of both the United States and Canada, our neighbors to the north. At the organ is Dick Kimball. Please rise for the national anthems, which will be sung by the youthful star of the original cast of the Broadway show Annie, Miss Andrea McCardle.
With glowing hearts we sing. so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, we're moments away from the first pitch of the 50th All-Star Game, and with the Parkers and the Fosters and Schmidts and Linds, Yastrzemskis, plenty of people are looking for a lot of home runs. Nolan Ryan for the American League, Steve Carlton for the National League will have something to say about that, and we're going to see it all when we come back.
I got a very good deal.
It's happening now. People are getting great deals on Dodge vans.
I was very enthusiastic about the price. It was a lot less than I thought, and I thought I really got a tremendous value.
Great deals on Dodge pickups, too.
We shopped pickups at Ford, we shopped at Chevrolet. We got a fantastic deal on a Dodge pickup. It was an excellent value.
Your Dodge dealer has the vans and trucks. They've all got to go, so let's make a deal.
Want high gas mileage? Come to Chrysler. Chrysler Corporation is #1 in gas mileage of the big three. Of all conventional pickups with an optional V8 and automatic transmission, Dodge D100 has the highest EPA estimated gas mileage. Of all small pickups with a standard engine and optional automatic transmission, Dodge D50 has the highest EPA estimated mileage. Want a pickup with high gas mileage? Come to Dodge. Chrysler is #1 in gas mileage of the big three.
Coke and a smile makes me feel good, so refreshing, makes me feel nice. That's the way it should be, and I'd like to see the whole world smiling with me. Coca-Cola as life, have a Coke and a smile.
The lineup cards have been just handed in. Bob Lemon for the American League. Lou Brock was designated by Tom Lasorda to hand in the lineup card. There he's going back to his dugout, and he was just overcome by it. Now the umpires behind the plate. George Maloney will be behind the plate. American League. Lee Wire will be at first base. Wire is from the National League. And Nick Bremigan, an American League umpire, will be at second base. At third base will be Billy Williams from the National League. And then working the left field line, Terry Cooney, and umpiring in the right field line will be Dutch Renner. Those are the umpires. There you see Dutch. And now we're getting ready for the ceremonial first pitch. Let's go to the PA announcer once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1979 has been designated by the United Nations as the Year of the Child. And this 50th All-Star Game is dedicated to youngsters the world over, wherever the great game of baseball is played. To underline baseball's long-standing dedication to the young people who have made the game what it is today, the ceremonial first pitch for tonight's game will be thrown by a man who for many years has been UNICEF's international ambassador to children all over the world. A man who has been a dedicated baseball fan his entire life, and who, as a working partner in the ownership of the Seattle Mariners, represents your hosts here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Major League Baseball, on behalf of the children of the world, is proud to introduce Mr. Danny Kaye.
You don't think Danny Kaye has something up his sleeve, do you?
Darrell Porter's got a problem right here, I think, folks.
So that sets the mood here. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. Here are the players who will be playing tonight in this All-Star game for the National League. Leading off, it'll be Davy Lopes. Lopes will be at second base. Batting second, new franchise. In right field, Big Dave Parker. Batting third from the Los Angeles Dodgers at first base, Steve Garvey. In the cleanup spot, it'll be Mike Schmidt from the Philadelphia Phillies. George Foster, and oh, did he hit some shots in batting practice in left field. Dave Winfield from San Diego will be in center field. Bob Boone is behind the plate. Larry Boa is the shortstop, and the pitcher is Steve Carlton. That's the lineup.
Well, the umpires now take their positions, 6 of them in American League or All-Star competition, as Joe mentioned a while ago. Defensively, for the American League, Don Baylor in left field, Fred Lynn in center field, Jim Rice in right field for the American League. At third base, George Brett from KC, Kansas City, Roy Smalley at shortstop, Frank White at second base, Carl Yastrzemski, who made it as an outfielder, shifted to first base. Darrell Porter is the catcher, and the pitcher, your pal, Nolan Ryan.
Well, Tony, a guy that I had the pleasure of playing with for several years in New York, you get baseball players still sit around the clubhouse, watch Nolan Ryan throw, and it gives you chills. He throws so hard. He's got a super arm.
And there they go. Tom, as we wait for Nolan Ryan to come out, let me first mention that it looks like Danny Ozark will be coaching at first base, and it'll be Chuck Tanner at third base coaching for the National League. In an All-Star game, when you have never pitched to a hitter, what would you do? What do you think Nolan will do?
Well, I think Nolan, first of all, is going to try and get ahead of the hitters. I was down there talking to him before the game, and he's primarily what he's going to try and do, get ahead of the hitters. A guy that's in Nolan Ryan's shoes, he just got to go with his strength. I mean, there's nobody that throws any harder, and there probably hasn't been anybody, maybe in the history of the game, that's thrown any harder as long as Nolan Ryan has. I mean, many people don't realize that. We sit around in the clubhouse the other night watching him throw on TV, and it's just, he's unbelievable. Be throwing, and he's already had one arm operation. So I think what he's got to be thinking about doing out there on the mound is throwing strikes and getting his fastball over. He's going to go with his strength.
And he's coming off some pretty good ball games. He struck out 12 Red Sox in one start, pitched a one-hitter against the Yankees over this past weekend. Where does he generate the speed?
Well, Tony, he's a power pitcher, and he gets it in the lower half of his body. You can see he gets a great hip turn.
The lower half of his body, and somehow, somewhere in there, he generates tremendous arm speed. You know, and they clock him at 100 miles an hour. He's very easy to hit at.
He's got a pretty good curveball, too, at times.
Well, not many people know that.
Maybe in the National League know that, right? Other than maybe watching him on TV. But not only is that overpowering fastball, but he does have the excellent curveball.
Well, they're having a meeting on the mound, and I'm sure that Porter is making sure that they are together as we look at Davy Lopes, who'll be leading off. Porter is simply saying, now let's get together. 1's a fastball, 2's a curve, and 3 will be a changeup, because if Nolan Ryan crosses you up, you just may be ordering 4 beers with 2 fingers.
Ryan starting this game with 3 days rest, so he should be strong.
Davy Lopes. Lopes hitting .261 on the season, and in All-Star games, he's 1 for 1. Lopes has 20 home runs and 45 runs batted in. Here's the first pitch of the All-Star game. And that was a pure fastball, unsaturated fastball. Whoop. Another one, and it's strike 2. What you have to do with Nolan Ryan, I'm sure, is just give the signal, remember what you put down, and hold the glove. National League, they won 30 games. American League, 18. 2 strikes to count. Ball game just getting started. Struck him out.
Well, Tony and Joe, I mean, this is exactly what Nolan Ryan wanted to do, and I'll be sitting there shaking my head watching this guy throw, because I played with him and seen him throw for the last 10 years, and he's just absolutely overpowering. High fastball, and there's the 3rd strike fastball away. There's no way Davey Lopes had a chance at the ball.
Now we got a real test here early in the game. Strength against strength. Fastball pitcher Ryan against fastball hitter Dave Parker, who's swinging a 37-ounce bat. And it is heavy, and he can get around on it. Let's see if he gets around on Nolan Ryan. Fastball is a strike. 4 pitches, 4 strikes.
Well, we've talked about the power early on, as the newspapers had for days all over the country.
Strike to it. Interestingly enough, he's gone inside with him, Tom. He's challenging him as if to say, hey, I got a better fastball inside than you can pull.
Well, that's why you have to pitch Dave Parker, Joe. He uses that great big bat. He has good power to left center going the opposite way. You've got to get the hard stuff in on him. Nolan Ryan didn't have that control early in his career. He put those 2 right on the black. First 2 pitches right on the black, and there you see, first pitch he went away from Parker.
I want to see now if it comes inside or if he'll go to 2-2 and then work on him. All fastballs. He has not thrown any marshmallows up there. Everything has been fast and hard. Struck him out.
Tom, he not only appears so far to the first 2 hitters to have tremendous velocity, but the ball is exploding. It's darting into the left-handers at times, darting away from the left-handers at times.
Well, he did pitch last Friday, Tony, and he likes to pitch on 3 days rest, pitch every 4th day. So he's right on his day. He has great velocity, gets great movement on the ball, especially up in the strike zone.
Here is Steve Garvey. 2 outs, both strikeouts. Nolan Ryan, 32 years old, 6'2", inside. I tell you, when he comes inside, you got to start thinking about the family back home, don't you?
Well, you don't have much time to think, though. You got to get out of there.
Inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Ryan, born in Refugio, Texas, lives in Alvin, Texas. 12-6 in '79, a 2.54 earned run average.
Garvey is not an easy man to strike out. In almost 400 plate appearances this year, he struck out just 30 times. A good contact hitter.
Boy, I'll tell you something. If you had a new glove and you wanted to break it in, all you do is catch Ryan for 2 innings, and it's as good as broken in. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. First 2 batters out on strikes. Lopes was called out, and Parker out on strikes swinging. And there's the strike.
I can't think of a tougher situation for, let's say, a National League club coming in here. A stadium many of them have never seen before, and the lighting inside, not the greatest lighting. We put some extra lights in here, but having to face Nolan Ryan right off the bat, it's got to be very tough for him.
3-1 pitch. Fouls it back. I might add, too, Tom, that I think that the batting practice that they took might have lulled them into a little false security, because everybody was trying to take every pitch deep. Nobody was laying a bat on the ball. They were trying to tear out seats all over this ballpark.
Well, a lot of times it's easy hitting against the Galen Cisco throwing batting practice or somebody else, you know, but so you got to get out there and hit against Nolan Ryan. Things are certainly a lot different.
Garvey hitting .314. He has 14 home runs, 118 base hits, leads the league. He is really stuffed into that uniform, nothing but muscles. Whoa! It was close, but Garvey gets the base on balls.
The entire American League team, including the pitcher Nolan Ryan, were starting off the field. They thought he had a strikeout.
That brings up Mike Schmidt.
Here you see the replay of that last pitch. You go ahead and judge for yourself. The ball has tremendous movement on the inside part. Garvey didn't swing, and the ball may have tailed off the plate. Certainly Nolan thought it was a strike.
So Mike Schmidt is up there now. Schmidt with 31 home runs, league leader, major league leader, hitting .265. He's on a tear. There's a breaking ball, and it's a strike.
Look at Schmidt's face.
First pitches throwing, Tom.
He's been throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. He walks up there, and Nolan curves him.
You have to start pulling the trigger off, Ryan, before he releases the ball at times.
Schmidt is digging for third. He's got a three-base hit. The National League leads.
Tom, as impossible as that catch looked for Freddie Lynn, it's the kind of catch he might have made if he had not been playing with a pulled groin muscle. He was a doubtful starter for the American League. He played the last weekend with a severely pulled groin. He wanted to play. He got a good jump, did not run well. He finds the fence after hitting the warning track, and it just hit off the wall and the fingertips of his glove. I believe it might have hit his glove first, as we'll see on this angle, and then when the glove hit the wall, this is some kind of effort by Fred Lynn. The wall knocked it out. What a great try.
Here's George Foster. He takes a look at the first one. It's strike one. 1-0, National League. Jumps out. A walk to Garvey. A triple by Schmidt. Did he go around? No. They ask, and Lee Wire says, nope. 1 ball, 1 strike. Foster hitting .333, leading the league. He has 72 RBIs, leading the league. He's tied with Winfield, rather. Base hit down the right field line. Schmidt scores. Foster rounds first. He's got himself a double.
Boy, that National League bench is all out to greet the man who got the first hit. Mike Schmidt, the triple who just scored. Who says they don't want to win the All-Star game?
You think he was just swinging late or going that way? I believe he didn't get around on it.
I don't think he got around, Joe. No. I mean, Nolan Ryan throws extremely fast. He's had to go through Parker and Schmidt and Foster and Garvey and all these power hitters, and they finally gotten to him here.
Here is Winfield, and what a year he's having. .327, 72 runs batted in, tied with Foster. 118 base hits, he's tied with Garvey. Big wide stance, big, strong, good-looking guy. Ball on. National League 2. American League yet to bat. We're in the top of the first. But the National League takes the lead here. It's the National League 2, American League nothing, middle of the first.
I got an invitation, but not in the mail. I grab my invitation every morning without fail. I'm shaving close and comfortable, on that you can bet, since I got an invitation from Gillette.
Now, for a limited time only, get the special edition Atra Invitation for less than $1.50. The same pivoting head and face-hugging action that made Atra Gillette's best shave.
At a buy now price. Atra Invitation from Gillette.
The SX70 Sonar. No other camera can do everything this camera does. Sound waves whip the lens into perfect focus. A computer sets the exposure. Long shots, close-ups. You can get perfect pictures every time and share them in minutes. It's all automatic. Polaroid's SX70 Sonar. Of all the fine cameras, this is the world's smartest.
Here's Here's the way the American League will line up. Leading off, it'll be Roy Smalley Jr. from the Minnesota Twins at shortstop. Batting second, George Brett. He'll be at third base. Don Baylor bats third. He will be in left field. Jim Rice is the right fielder. He's in the cleanup spot. Freddie Lynn in center field. Carl Yastrzemski is at first base. The catcher is Darrell Porter. Frank White bats eighth. He's at second base. And Nolan Ryan is the ninth batter. He's the pitcher, of course.
There's the defense. Foster, Winfield, Parker, Schmidt, Boa, Lopes, and Garvey. Boone behind the plate, and Steve Carlton of the Phillies, the pitcher. Some pretty good all-round players. Good throwing arms and speed, and Winfield and Parker in the outfield.
There's the first pitch, and it's ball one. Smalley, a switch hitter, hitting .341. Curveball, it's a beauty. You could really see that one break. Tell me about that optical illusion with that one, Tom, huh?
No, I talked to those hitters about it. I agree, it's not an optical illusion.
Popped up. And it's tough to find. They're Boa and Schmidt is run off by Boa. And I tell you something, the reason I say tough to find, they were talking about that, Tony.
Well, it's the reason that Boa came out to help out. But Schmidt had his eye on the ball all the way. You can see he still does as Boa waves him up. The ceiling is painted a gray or a white gray, and you can lose the ball in the girders upstairs. That, my friends, I guess is the kissing bandit. Anna slipped on the field, and I hope they throw her out somewhere.
Well, she said she was going to do it. We've had all kinds of excitement. We had the imposter, the fellow who played in the Open and just brought a caddy and went there. And then remember in the NBA, he took some shots. And then tonight he came out in a Yankee uniform, and some people feel that he even was in the team picture. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, well, so there's one away, and well, actually two out. One out with a pop-up, and Morgana, she's out of here now.
Joe and Tom, we have a chance to apologize for mix-up in the introduction of players. Joe Sampeto, the great left-hander, relief pitcher from the Houston Astros, was omitted. We apologize to the Houston fans and, of course, to Joe.
He's having a tremendous year for the Houston Astros, and we certainly don't want to overlook him. Here is George Brett. Did he go around? They're going to ask. No, says the third base umpire. Billy Williams is at third, National League. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out. 2-0, National League leading bottom of the first. Good curveball. He went around this time. So it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Joe, I was talking about Boone before the game, and he said Carlton has really been throwing super lately. An outstanding fastball the last 4 or 5 games, and he's got very good breaking stuff. I talked about his slider in the pregame show. He'll throw that slider, he'll throw that curveball anytime to anybody, regardless of what the count is. He has that much confidence in those 2 pitches.
2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out. This is with the curveball. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
George Brett draws the base on balls. Joe Garagiola here with Tony Kubek, Tom Seaver. We're at the Kingdome in Seattle, where the National League has jumped out to a 2-0 lead. And here is Don Baylor. Baylor with 85 runs batted in and 23 home runs. Strike 1. He really has a busy bat. He waits in a hurry for that pitch.
Interesting to see if Carlton throws over to first base. Brett can steal a base on you. He's got 11 for the year, but Carlton's been called for a lot of balks. Last year, in fact, the last outing, he had 2 balks called against him. There he goes. He's got a better one than that.
That was, I think, a decoy.
He pauses at times and looks you back, and sometimes he hesitates too long. Varying ways he has of bending the rule.
Baylor doesn't get it. It's a quick 2-strike count on him. Base runner is George Brett. Carlton has won his last 3 starts, a one-hitter on July 4th. The only hit was a double by Elliott Maddox. Nobody out in the 7th. Pull foul. Then Carlton pitched a 14 strikeout game on July 8th, beating the Giants 5-3. And in his last start Thursday, he beat San Diego 4-3, pitching 8 innings. It's his 4th All-Star game. 11-8 with a 3.49 earned run average in 1979. Inside. Bob Boone is behind the plate, and he's been catching Carlton. You know, for a long time, Tim McCarver was Steve's private catcher. In fact, when we were there, Tony, remember he was kidding. Tim said he went out and bought all the records the way we were. Great sense of humor.
Well, Booney's wife is going to have a baby Wednesday morning, but he elected to be here at this All-Star game. He may not be back at home in time. Well, his 2 sons along with him.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. In fact, at the commissioner's luncheon, as we look at George Brett, Boone was there with his mother. His father, Ray Boone, played in an All-Star game in 1950 when he was with Detroit. Foul straight back. Boone couldn't find it, but it's in the stands.
Tom, you've seen Steve Carlton change his style. At one time, he was pretty much a power pitcher. He can still blow the ball by you at times now, but he's gone to a lot of breaking balls. We've seen him pitch ball games where he's been 50% curves and sliders.
Well, he's had so much success with that slider, Tony, that he really throws it an awful lot, and he can still throw hard enough to throw the ball right by you.
Misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 1st. National League leading 2-0.
How about the kind of year, Tony, this guy at the plate is having? That's one thing of not having interleague play. You never get to see a guy like this play over in the National League.
Foul ball. The thing about him, Tom, you talk to many players in his peer group in the American League, he might be the most respected player in the American League by many guys. You rank the top few players as we look at the swing of Don Baylor. Short, compact, very powerful man. You take Brett, you take Lynn, you take Rice, and this man right here. Name just a few. They're right there, 1, 2, or 3.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. George Brett can run. Carlton will be giving a quick look and probably throw over there to try to nail him. There he goes. It is a base hit. George Brett is going to come all the way around as the ball gets by Foster. And there goes Baylor rounding second, but he holds on. 2-1 National League as the American League scores.
Brett was going with 1 out, 3-2 count, and Mike Schmidt missed this ball what looked like to be inches, almost robbing Baylor of the double he hit down the line. There's the Carlton pitch. The move by Brett. As soon as it hit that corner down there and bounced toward left center field, he knew he was going to score.
Popped up. Davy Lopes is going out. Tough play. That's that triangle they're talking about, Tony. They've got an area here. Parker throws his hands up. I didn't see it. They're all looking up. They've got an area that Bobby Valentine was telling us about last night. They call it Bermuda Triangle.
You cannot take your eye off the ball. They've put more lights in to light this infield up. But Davy Lopes, when he heard about it from Valentine, had a very good idea. He said, well, if one goes up and I lose it, I'm going to find out how great Dave Parker really is and say, a lot of room, Parker. You've got it. But he hung on long enough to catch it.
So they're 2 away, and here is Fred Lynn. Outside, ball 1. Lynn with 24 home runs leads the American League, hitting .323. Fastball misses.
I wasn't sure, Tony, till just before game time whether he would start, too, wasn't it?
They had 2 lineups. Chet Lemon of the White Sox was scheduled to lead off, but Lynn came to Bob Lemon, the manager, and I can play.
There's a strike. Fred Lynn, along with Tom Seaver from USC, and there is Rod Dato, the baseball coach, and take a look at those 3 on the same team. It's Lynn Smalley and Steve Kemp on the same team yet.
1974. They also had on that ball club Rich Dower of the Orioles. Whew. couple other guys came. Kingman's not here, but he went to school there. Seaver went there. Could go on and on, couldn't you, Tom?
Steve Busby, Ron Fairley. It's amazing the amount of men that Coach Dato's put out of that fine university, boy.
You stop to think, as we have a 2-2 count, 2 outs on Fred Lynn, that they were on the same team. Go to the big leagues is enough, but to be on an all-star team is really something. Well hit, deep to right field, near the wall. Nobody will get this one.
So far, it has been just what was expected. And we'll show Carl that looked like a fastball, Tom. I'm not sure.
Up in the strike zone. That boy got the ball up, and I tell you, when he first hit it, Tony, you can see it up just above the waist there. When he first hit it, I thought it was a pop fly in this ballpark, and that ball was well past the fence, into the stands.
Here is Carl Yastrzemski now at ball 1, his new stance. He takes a strike.
The area Lynn hit it, we'll show it to you again, is just over 350 feet. A normal fly ball in a lot of ballparks in the major leagues. A home run here.
2 balls, 1 strike, 3-2. The American League is taking the lead. It is high. 3 balls and 1 strike. Yastrzemski with his leaning Tower of Pisa stance. Another one deep to right center field. Winfield back and makes the catch at the wall. Hey, don't you leave. It looks like we're going to have some kind of night. Take a look at that play as Winfield gets back there, Tony.
They say the ball does not carry any farther, but I believe it does.
So that ends the first inning, and 2 up for the National League. It'll be Bob Boone, Larry Boa, and Steve Carlton. The score, American League 3, National League 2.
They built this country out of dreams and steel, and every day you pour enough new steel for one more bridge, one more building, one more dream. But now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find, Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer. Miller Beer.
We challenged hotshot Garland Dwyer with the new Mattel Electronics baseball game.
You are off.
Inside, a tiny thinking computer plays like a team of pros. The computer fires a fastball.
Strike 1.
Now a curve. It's a triple. Garland's trying to stretch it home. New Pocket Baseball, one of 7 sports games from Mattel Electronics.
Hey, who's in there?
I'm bringing an appetite, wearing a smile, 'cause you got so many good things to eat. And when I top it off with Tasty Freeze, it's more than a meal, it's a treat.
Right now at Tasty Freeze and Big T family restaurants, we're preparing all your favorite cooking with a little something extra. A good old-fashioned Tasty Freeze dessert.
It's more than a meal, it's a treat.
Well, you can see on a lineup card that the 5th slot, Lynn has been scratched and Chet Lemon has gone into play, center field, replacing Fred Lynn. Lynn, a 2-run homer. American League leads 3-2. We go to the top of the second. George Maloney out visiting with Nolan Ryan. If you've just joined us, we've had fireworks in the first inning. A walk to Garvey, a triple by Schmidt, a double by Foster, and it is a 2-0 lead for the National League. American League came back, a walk to Brett, a double by Baylor, a 2-run homer by Lynn, and it's 3-2 right now. American League is leading as Bob Boone takes strike 1.
Joe, Bob Boone has really been hot lately. He's really been on a tear. There you can see the American League dugout. But Bob Boone has really been on a tear lately. Good fastball hitter.
The reaction you hear as we saw that last pitch to Boone is because the chicken has arrived. He's prancing on the dugout of the National League, and there he is.
I tell you, he's a phenomena. The players are coming out to check him out. Pete Rose, Keith Hernandez, the chicken is going bonkers on top of the dugout. They react to him. 2-1 pitch. Off the handle, may drop in for a base hit. It does. Boone is on with a single. They expected a lot of hitting, and so far we have not been disappointed. 3-2, American League leads. 2 hits for the American League, 3 for the National. And here is Larry Boa. Boa hitting .264. Tough hitter. High, ball 1.
I'll tell you, Joe, when Larry Boa first came up to the big leagues, he was the type of hitter you could just knock the bat right out of his hands. He wasn't very strong with the left-hand side, and if he had a good fastball, you just, the old term, you just blew him away. And he has really made himself a fine, pesky, difficult hitter to get out.
Has he become a better hitter or just stronger?
He's stronger, and he's become a better hitter. He knows his strike zone better. He knows what he can do. He doesn't try to overpower the ball.
The little guy right there, Boa, who finished 3rd in the most valuable player balloting last year in the National League. For a long while, a lot of people thought he was going to get it.
3 balls, no strikes. Gary Templeton was chosen, but his famous line, it'll be remembered, if I ain't starting, I ain't departing. So he's not here. 3 balls and no strikes. Three balls, 1 strike. Lou Brock has come out of the dugout for the National League. He's going to be the pinch hitter for Carlton. He'll get a tremendous ovation again. There's a strike. There you see Brock. At the commissioner's luncheon today, I thought he made what was really just a profound statement. He said, baseball deals in history, but the players of today are not clinging to history. We are here to make history. Ian Roy Smalley Jr., the speakers. There goes the runner. It's fouled off. Everybody will come back. We got a jammed house here. Most people ever to see a baseball game in the Pacific Northwest. And it has just been exciting the days we've been here. Everybody's talking baseball. Baseball, I think, is the game best suited for an all-star game. There you see the runner, Boone. Boa doesn't strike out much, so Boone was breaking. Last time he'll break again. It wasn't that close. Three-two pitch. There goes Boone. It's fouled off again, and Boone will have to come back. Talk about all-star games. Football, a team game. They have to play together. Basketball, they play together. But baseball is a team game, as Joe Torre said, Tom, played by individuals.
Played by a group of individuals. That's right. Individual effort, Joe. And you get a team result.
There goes Booney. Popped up. Maybe playable. Brett near the stands makes the catch. And so Boa is out. And it brings up a pinch hitter, Lou Brock.
Well, Lou Brock, he said it's his last season, so that makes this his last all-star game. And we talked to Lou Brock about that, and here's what he had to say about his appearance in this year's all-star game and his last season.
It's a pleasure to say it is my last all-star game, and of course it is my last season. And I've had enjoyed it tremendously. 18 years of Major League Baseball and 6 or 7 all-star games. I think you can't ask for a better career.
The crowd paying tribute to Lou Brock as he comes on as a pinch hitter. Strike 1.
I went to my first All-Star game, 1967. Joe was in Anaheim, California, and I was in there. So how far Lou and I go back. Lou walked in and he asked me to go get him a Coke. He thought I was in the clubhouse been in there.
High chopper. Yastrzemski cannot get it. Boone doesn't know where the ball is. He's going to stop at second.
Lou Brock wanted to go. In fact, he had to be held up by first base Ozark because he thought that Boone might go first and third on the situation. It probably was a good decoy by the shortstop Smalley because Boone could not pick up the ball. They held him to second base, and in that case, Brock is held to a single as we look at it again. Ordinarily, it would have been a double and a man on second and third.
The surface here, as you see it, obviously artificial, but very, very hard. I found it hard walking on it, Tony. How'd you guys find it?
It's fast. It is fast.
Very fast and very hard. And those dirt areas out there, if the players have to slide on them, Joe, are extremely hard. It's like concrete.
1 ball, 1 strike. 1 strike to count, rather. Here's Boone. Now watch him. He's got his head down, and he doesn't know where the ball is.
Little decoy by Frank White, the second baseman, and Smalley, the shortstop.
1 strike pitch to Lopes. And Nolan Ryan cannot make the play. Nobody can make the play. It's an infield hit. Davey Lopes is on with a single. The bases are loaded with 1 out. American League is leading 3-2. Look at it again.
Even if anybody can make this play right here, there's no way you're going to get Davey Lopes at first. He just has too much speed. Smalley made a good play trying to get the runner at third base, looking over there at Bob Boone. There's another shot of it.
What a futile feeling that's going to be for a pitcher. Nothing you can do.
Well, with Lopes running, even if you catch the ball, after it's bounced that high, you're not going to get him anyway.
You talk about a futile feeling. How would you like to have the bases loaded and this handball court walking up there?
Call time right now. Go get a hot dog or something.
You'd have to signal fair catch. Dave Parker, who was out on strikes his first time up. He is just awesome. Strike 1, he had a cut. There's action down in the American League bullpen. As we take a look at the defense, they are deep. American League is leading 3-2.
Ron Guidry has begun to throw for the American League.
Fastball misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I talked to Parker before the game, Joe. I said, what are you going to do? You've never faced Nolan Ryan before. I said, I'm going to look for a fastball, and I'm going to try and hit the ball hard. And Parker does. So there's Guidry warming up in the American League bullpen. Parker does have outstanding power to the opposite field.
Yeah. Straight away center field. Lemon coming in. Boone is tagging up. It looks like it'll be deep enough. It is. So we're all tied up. Sacrifice fly by Dave Parker.
You get a chance to see on this RBI sacrifice fly by Parker that Lemon, the center fielder who replaced it, will not take his eye off the ball. It was not hit well, but look at him. He will refuse this because of that ceiling here where you lose a lot of balls. There's Boone scoring.
National League 3, American League 3. Garvey, who walked and scored in the first inning, the batter. Brock is at second, and Lopes is at first. That's out of play, strike 1.
With Brock and Lopes on base, even with 2 outs, you gotta believe that Lou would like to get a stolen base. Possibly his last in all-star competition. He has Smalley, the shortstop, and White, the second baseman for the American League, really jockeying close to the middle of the diamond.
I tell you, boy, that's a pretty good relay team out there. Brock, Lopes. White is close to the bag at second. 1 strike to count. Tied here, 3-3. Popped up. Right side. Yastrzemski has plenty of room. He makes the play. So that ends the inning. But they score a run. And coming up in the bottom half of the second inning, it'll be Darrell Porter, Frank White, and due-up Nolan Ryan. 3-3 as we go into the bottom of the second.
Dominic, I need...
Never there when you need him.
The Xerox 9400 is one of the fastest duplicators in the world. It's also one of the easiest to operate. Push a few buttons and it can automatically feed and cycle originals, collate, and copy on both sides of a piece of paper. It's so easy to use, even the boss can use it.
Father, you did all this by yourself?
Yes, Brother Dominic.
It's a miracle.
Right guard knows that in equally active situations, men and women don't perspire equally. Men perspire more. That's why men count on Right Guard. Right Guard is so strong, so effective, it helps stop a man's perspiration odor all day long. Yes, men and women don't perspire equally. And that's why men count on Right Guard. Strong, effective Right Guard. Because men perspire more.
George, red wine in the cooler?
This one's different, sir. It's Colony Chilled Light Burgundy.
Chilled? I've been selling wine for 30 years.
But this is the red table wine that's made to be served cold. Try some.
Delicious. It says it's cold balance blended. Tastes smooth and mellow, but people just aren't ready for
Excuse
it.
me, do you have Colony Chilled Light Burgundy?
Colony Chilled Light Burgundy. It's got good taste down cold.
Hi, I'm Tony Kubek. The United Nations has proclaimed 1979 the International Year of the Child. NBC Sports proudly joins in this celebration, saluting the children of the world.
Here at the Kingdom, we're all tied up and we've got some changes. There's Gary Matthews. He's gone into left field, replacing George Foster. And we have a new pitcher for the National League, Joaquin Andujar from the Dominican Republic. Andujar, 6 feet, 180 pounds, and he has done some job, Tom, for those Astros, who have really been a most pleasant surprise.
Well, that entire Houston Astro pitching staff has really done a super job, Joe. Andujar is 11-5 on this year so far. 2.6 ERA, which is obviously outstanding. Good fastball, and he'll change speeds on you. And he's learned in the last couple of years, too, to get the ball in the strike zone. He used to have a lot of difficulty with base on balls.
Challenging those hitters, I was going to say, and couple him with the Negro and the young man that we certainly didn't want to slide, Joe Sambito, coming out that bullpen. They throw some pretty good power at you from the pitching standpoint.
On that other guy they have down there, too.
Oh, Jay Rodney. Hey, I don't want to forget
Hello.
JR.
Yes, sir. We don't want to make him mad at us, that's for sure.
Remember Willie Stargell said his fastball, he can start a forest fire with it. It's so fast. No, we don't want to forget him. Here's Darrell Porter. Watch the stance that Darrell Porter has. In fact, watch him as he gets into the batter's box. He'll kind of meditate and take some practice swings and really get himself geared and get that concentration going. There he goes. He's thinking now what he's going to be doing. He's got an open stance, a pull hitter stance. It's a strike. There's a good look at that stance. If you never saw the fellow and you were a catcher, you would expect him to be looking for that ball inside. High curveball.
You can see him up at the plate, still using some of their former hitting instructors' instructions. Charlie Lau with that shifting of the weight, the back foot to the front foot, taking time between pitches to compose himself. They're your leaders in National League most victories. Andujar third.
Left field. Matthews is there near the line. One out. One away. Frank White is the batter. That's Reggie Jackson. There's not been a trade. His Yankee uniform was left in Oakland, and that's what he had on before the game. There you see him in the right uniform. And while we're talking about the Yankees, there's a rumor at the ballpark. We're trying to get it confirmed that Al Rosen, the general manager, is going to resign from this Yankee position. One strike to count on Frank White.
If that happens, could that mean that Bob Lemon might not be far behind? Don't know.
I don't believe that. One strike, curveball. Watching Lemon, I just believe there are guys that belong in the office and want to be there, and there are field guys, and Lemon is. It might be the year 2080 before he goes to the front office. Two strikes to count. Fastball inside. I like that kind of pitching, Tom. Keep him honest.
Well, Andujar is a guy that players in the National League will say has a lot of hot dog in him. You'll see him do some antics on the mound and flip the ball up, and he's very animated for a pitcher.
He looks like he comes to the side with that fastball that bores in on you if you're right-handed, and then comes with that sidearm curve like that.
Tough sidearm curveball popped up. Garvey's got room. He makes the play.
Look at where Andujar was. Andujar came all the way over from the pitcher's mound. You think he isn't hyped up for this ball game? He almost caught that ball.
Tom, you used the expression hot dog. I just want to ask you something. Have you ever known of a bad ball player who was accused of being a hot dog?
Well, it's a little difficult to be a bad player and be a hot dog, that's for sure. You don't stay around too long.
Pinch hitter. Cecil Cooper, the Brewers. You're going to see a little bit of Rod Carew in this man's stance, but Rodney really helped him out a little bit last year. Changed his stance. Here's a guy who, a week or so ago, was unhappy hitting about 310. He said, I'm a 330 or 40 hitter.
He'll point that bat towards the pitcher, much like Rod Carew right there, get his timing, and he'll have a good cut. Ball one. In a clinic that I was listening to in Milwaukee, Sal Bando put him among the top 3 as far as hitters in the American League. Andujar, the finger out of the glove. Why? Who knows? Cooper fouls it off.
Pat Corrales, the third base coach in the American League. He's with the Texas Rangers. Roy Hartsfield of Toronto at first base for the American League.
We're all tied up here, 3 apiece. Bottom of the second. 2 outs, nobody on. Cecil Cooper, a pinch hitter. Two balls and 1 strike, 2 outs. I may have demoted Rosen inadvertently. He is the president of the Yankees. But that's the rumor that he is going to resign at any rate. We have not been able to confirm it. I just repeat it's a rumor. 3 balls, 1 strike. Roy Smalley, the on-deck batter. The 3-1 pitch. Out of play. Andujar.
Andujar has settled things down a little bit, Tom. 2 outs without a run.
Well, Steve Carlton did have some trouble in the first inning. Andujar has a lot of movement in his delivery, bounces around. Surprisingly, though, he has really gotten a lot of control in the last couple of years, made himself a pretty good pitcher, has a very good innings pitched and hit ratio.
Slow curveball. That's a tough pitch, 3-2. Tough pitch to a tough hitter.
I think it's interesting the point you made about his control, Tom, because he's gone both ways this season. He has started 12 ball games, but he's been relieved a lot also. I would imagine trying to do that as a pitcher can disrupt you a little bit.
Well, it can also lead to a sore arm once in a while, too. You look at that line there where it says 116 innings pitched, yet only 84 base hits. That's a pretty good ratio for a pitcher.
So Cooper draws the base on balls, and it brings up Roy Smalley. Smalley in the first inning fouled out to the third baseman, Mike Schmidt. We're tied here, 3 apiece. We're in the bottom of the second.
Gene Mock gave this man a few hitting tips last year. Some of them because Mock, his manager and uncle, played with Ted Williams on the Red Sox. He got his bat closer to his body. He closed his stance, moved him away from the plate. But the guy that really did it was Smalley, who worked so hard.
Smalley hitting 341. I think he's just more aggressive up there. It looked like he was feeling for the ball a couple years, and now he gets up there, takes a good cut either side of the plate. He batted right-handed against Carlton. Andujar trying to keep Cooper close.
Smalley's success did not start with this year. There's Cooper, stolen base total, 9 and 11 attempts this season. Started the middle of last year when he made some adjustments.
Fastball misses. Ball 1. Molly's been a little bit of a slump, 1 for 22 in his last 6 games. The way he's been hitting. Plays have not been close at first base. Left field. Matthews is there. Makes the play. And that ends the inning. So the score is tied here, 3 apiece, and due up it'll be Mike Schmidt, Gary Matthews, and Dave Winfield. We're tied, 3 apiece.
Here in Chicago, we're evaluating the world's first lightwave communication system, carrying our customers' voice, data, and video. A half-inch cable like this can contain enough glass fibers to carry as many phone calls as 6 of those copper cables. Besides increasing capacity, someday this system will help keep costs down. We've taken lightwave communications out of the labs. We've put it under the streets, and it's working.
The Bell System, keeping your communication system the best in the world.
They did it, we did it. Burger King took the best potatoes, sliced them long and lean. They did it, cooked them golden brown, the height of great French fry cuisine. They did it, so tender on the inside, crispy on the out. So fresh and hot, and that is what the best fries are about. Who's got the best darn French fries in the whole wide world? Burger King and I. They did it! No need to tell you what tires I got. They tell you themselves, and they tell you a lot. Woo, Kelly! I'm all charged up with superchargers, Kelly. Stepping up with my superchargers, Kelly.
Put a charge in your driving.
Kelly. Superchargers, Kelly.
Kelly Springfield, we're out to change America's tires.
Well, Bryant Gumbel is down with Fred Lynn, who just left the game. Bryant?
Okay, Joe, Fred was indeed the first elected starter to have to leave the game, but those who think he had to come out because he hurt himself on Schmidt's ball, it's a mistake.
That's right, Brian. I aggravated a groin pull that I heard in Oakland the past weekend, and both Bob Lemon and myself agreed that we shouldn't take any more unnecessary chances.
Nothing against your talent, but the home run you hit, it looked like a bad Carlton fastball.
I'm sure he's trying to get the ball away from me. He was trying to pitch me away the whole time up, and he got the ball a little bit in more than he wanted. And in this ballpark, all you have to do is make good contact.
Fred, thank you much. Take care of the groin pull. We'll go back upstairs to Joe.
Okay, Fred Lynn, Bryant Gumbel, this is Mike Schmidt. Fastball is inside. We got a new pitcher out there, Stanley, Bob Stanley. The Red Sox, his starter and the reliever in '79. His record 11-6, as you see it. 14 starts, 6 complete games, 9 in relief. Schmidt had a good cut. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Some of you fans may watch our game of the week. I got to believe that Bob Stanley pitched one of the best ball games we've seen all year long. He had that sinker ball down between the knees and the ankle almost all day long, got a lot of ground balls, was ahead of almost every hitter. Tom, you're going to like this kid. He really comes at you. Pretty good slider and a tough sinking fastball.
I pitched against him one day in spring training this year, Tony. We went over to play the Red Sox, and we pitched against each other, and he did show me he had a fine sinker, a good slider, keeps the ball down in the strike zone, and he throws strikes. Not much more to success for a pitcher than being able to do that.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Mike Schmidt, who tripled and drove in a run in the first inning when the National League scored 2. American League came back with 3 in the bottom half. National League tied it up in the top of the second. That's where we stand. Curveball misses. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out from the Kingdome. Joe Garagiola with Tony Kupek and Tom Seaver. We're expecting fireworks, and so far we've had them. There are the home run leaders. Dave Kingman, who is out with an injury. Chasing Schmidt, he drills another one. Opposite field, extra bases. Lemon is up with it, and Schmidt has himself a double to go along with his triple.
We talked about in the pregame show, Joe, about how hot that hitter right there, Mike Schmidt is. He just has been on a tear the 2 weeks prior to the All-Star game. Here you see a sinker down and away. He goes right with it, shoots it right up the alley for a 2-base hit.
Also,
big man with good power, runs real well.
Oh, he sure does. You saw right there how well he runs. As Lemon played it very well off the fence in right center field. Schmidt can do about everything you'd want of a ball player. He is the complete player. Excellent defensively, fine speed, can steal a base.
Ground ball. Yastrzemski's going to go to third. Here's the throw. Not in time. Yastrzemski gambled and lost. Ground ball by Matthews. A fielder's choice.
There was the speed we just talked about. Schmidt, ordinarily you would not see that play across the diamonds. Matthews with an excellent piece of hitting, going the opposite way, trying to go to right. Look at Schmidt. He didn't stop for 1 second, didn't hesitate. He ran hard all the way.
But, Tony, there was a great piece of camera work there as Schmidt goes sliding in because he looked back. I think that Yastrzemski may have been gambling, too, that being hit to him, that Schmidt might just kind of let up a little bit. But when he turned his head and saw Yastrzemski going to third, he just gunned it all away. So it's first and third. Nobody out, and here is Winfield line to right field his first time up. We're tied, 3 apiece. Brett will go to second for 1 out. Low throw, Winfield is safe, and for some reason Schmidt stopped at third. And then came on to score with the throw going to first base.
This is Matthews off first base, and the ball that shattered the bat of Dave Winfield, that man right there making the pivot, if he doesn't get you at first base, nobody will. A lot of pressure put on by Matthews. We also had a chance to see the speed once again of these power hitters. Parker can run, Schmidt can run, Winfield can run.
I think another thing that we see in these last 2 plays, Tony, too, is the hustle of a Mike Schmidt going to third base and the hustle of a Gary Matthews getting down to second base.
Boone, strike 1.
To say that these guys are all-stars coming out here going through the motions couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, those 2 plays showed perfectly how much these guys do want to win.
Close at first base, but Winfield is back. 4-3, National League out in front. Bob Boone, he singled and scored in the second inning. Winfield back again. Schmidt was watching the play, and it looked like it was going to be a double play, but Matthews put some pressure on Frank White, couldn't get anything on the throw. It was low to Yastrzemski. Schmidt scored, and Winfield beat it out. Whoop, Porter didn't handle it too cleanly. He thought the big guy was going to run. I tell you, you look, just to reiterate what you said, Tom, at the Winfields and the Parker, you can't take for granted they're going to stay there.
Talk about one of the most complete athletes in the game. The man in the upright hand corner, not Stanley, the man we just left, Winfield, could have played professionally in 3 separate sports. Basketball, football, and of course he chose baseball.
He's got some ideas about running. There's 1 man out in the count of 1-1.
Do you know that Winfield drafted by 4 professional teams? Drafted by both the NBA and the ABA. Ah, a tricky question, right?
Diving back. They measure themselves. They're calling time now. Brock, for example, says 11 strides and a slide, and I'm back. Bob Boone, who's in the batter's box, has had to do some babysitting. We asked Bob Boone about his babysitting chores. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I'm babysitting here, Tony. It's a great thrill for me to play in an all-star game, and of course being selected to start is quite a thrill, and to get these 2 guys out, and they were out shagging earlier, and they're having a great time. You guys, Aaron, you want to say something to Mom? She'll be watching. Say hi.
Hi.
Bob Boone, youngsters.
Aaron wants another brother Wednesday morning.
They're going to have another member of their family, whether they want him or not.
That's fouled out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The All-Star game being here. Some of them couldn't be here. Johnny Bench, your battery mate, Tom, a bad back.
He's been suffering from a bad back. Had to sit out the entire weekend against the Cubs and couldn't play. John, of course.
High
perennial
chopper.
all-star.
Yeah. Brett, nice play. Frank White, double play. A beautiful all-star play. Brett Forner with his left. White, a great pivot, and that ends the inning. Tremendous double play pulled off by the American League. But the National League scores a run. They take the lead. There it is again. And 2 up will be Don Baylor. George Brett, Don Baylor, and Jim Rice. 4-3, National League leading.
For my summer cold, I have a lot of things that can relieve the nasal congestion, sneezing, coughing, and aches that bother me.
Honey, when I get a summer cold like yours, I get real winter relief with Comtrex Multi-Symptom Cold Reliever. Comtrex even relieves your cough, so all by itself it gives more kinds of relief than Dristan or Contac or Bayer. For any cold with this miserable combination of symptoms, winter or summer, this is better. Comtrex in tablet or liquid.
I got a very good deal.
It's happening now. People are getting great deals on Dodge vans.
I was very enthusiastic about the price. It was a lot less than I thought, and I thought I really got a tremendous value.
Great deals on Dodge pickups, too.
We shopped pickups at Ford. We shopped at Chevrolet. We got a fantastic deal on a Dodge pickup. It was an excellent value.
Your Dodge dealer has the vans and trucks. They've all got to go, so let's make a deal.
What are you doing, Fred? Putting Olympic latex stain on the house. Stain over paint? Hey, Pete, Fred's putting stain over paint. Stain over paint? George, Fred's putting stain over paint. Watch Olympic latex stain cover. Rich, mellow color. Hey. Cleans up in water, and it lasts for years. What's that stain, Fred? Olympic latex stain. It lets you stain over paint. Beautiful.
A shot of the crowd here at the Kingdome, and there's the famous chicken as he comes out to entertain. Boy, that's what I call calling a strike.
The man underneath that costume is Ted Giannoulis from Canada. Watch Winfield on this double play, finally executed by the American League, go after Frank White. White, as quick as anybody on the double play, avoids the hard sliding Winfield.
Tell you, and as big as he is, man, that's got to give you a feeling like the 515 is just broken loose. George Brett. Brett walked and scored in the second inning. National League leading 4-3. Ball 1 to George Brett. George Brett, who had the bad thumb for so long. Andahar, second pitcher. Garvey is going to take it himself. Just makes it in time. 1 out.
Garvey doesn't get quite the credit he should. He's got a very short glove. They moved him from third base when his throwing arm was not accurate and strong enough with the Dodgers. But anything near him he can catch.
So there's 1 away, and it brings up Baylor. Don Baylor, he doubled to drive in a run in that first inning when the American League scored 3. Fastball is a strike. One strike. His first All-Star game. His little boy was with him today at the luncheon, and boy was he proud of Daddy. This is Baylor, along with Don and little Donnie. Sidearm. Schmidt can't get it. It's a base hit. Baylor has his second base hit of the night. Jim Rice is coming up, but Bryant Gumbel has Nolan Ryan. And let's go down to Bryant.
Thank you very much. Nolan Ryan worked the first couple of innings. You came out, you threw 6 strikes to Lobson Parker. I know you thought you had Garvey struck out.
Well, we thought we made our pitch, but it was, I guess, a borderline pitch, and the umpire thought it was a ball.
Were you impressed with the power?
Oh, yes. Anytime that you have to face a lineup like that, there's no relief in sight, and you just have to go at them with your best stuff.
I wouldn't imagine Nolan Ryan has too much love for the AstroTurf in Seattle, considering the hits that Lobson Brock got.
Well, that's one of the disadvantages of playing on AstroTurf.
Noli, thanks for coming with us. Joe?
Okay, Bryant. Bryant, Nolan Ryan. Tag is made. It was close, but Baylor is back. He can run. He's a big one, but he can run.
He has averaged 31 steals in his American League career, which spans 7 years. Started with Baltimore, so like Parker and Winfield, Baylor with that fine combination of power and speed.
I guess, Tony, the only thing that he can't do with those other two guys is throw, right?
It gets away from Boone, and there goes Baylor.
He injured his shoulder, a football injury, fell on it when he was playing high school football. He could have played professional football. Here's the play again. Tough one for Boone to handle a breaking ball that spun away.
Tony, he did everything a catcher should do on that, but when the ball bounces in the dirt, it's a crazy hop. He got the glove down. He was in front of the ball and hit the heel and squirted away. It's like trying to catch a foul tip. You're lucky if you block it. You're lucky if you catch the foul tip.
If you're good and you do the basic thing, stay in front of the ball, you're going to block a percentage of it. Some of them are going to bounce away, certainly.
Here is Jim Rice again. 1 ball. The count. High chopper. Boa is going to go to first in time. And moving to third is Baylor.
I don't believe there's an artificial surface in the major leagues as fast and as hard as this. We've seen it on those high hoppers so far today, but there are 6 in the National League, 3 in the American League, and this might be the hardest of all.
Chet Lemon. Lemon from the White Sox on his way to hitting 300. 4-3 National League leading, bottom of the third.
Look out.
It hit him. And that's the best pitch in the world to get hit by. That nice big lollipop roundhouse curve. So it's first and third. And Yastrzemski.
He really slows down his arm speed, doesn't he, on that chin? Right there, he almost comes to a pause. He didn't appear to have good speed on the ball or arm motion.
If you slow down your arm like that, Tony, you're going to lose control of the ball. You're not going to be able to tell where it's going. The key to the off-speed pitch is to keep your arm speed the same as you do on your fastball.
2 men out. Baylor is at third. Lemon is at first. Yastrzemski, the batter. He flied to center field his first time out. Fastball is low, ball 1. Carl Yastrzemski, 39 years old, will be 40 on August 22nd. Oldest player in the American League. 21st professional year, 19th year with Boston. It's a strike.
We mentioned earlier, Yaz voted in as we look at Baylor at third. Lemon's at first. First time in All-Star Game history that 3 players from the same team elected the outfield starting spots. Yaz, Lynn, and Rice.
Up the middle, it's going to get through. We're tied up again, 4-4. Lemon makes the big turn, but holds on. Yastrzemski drives in the tying run.
I don't think they have a hose here in the Kingdom to wet that part down in front of home plate.
You know what I'm thinking about, Tony?
Wow.
They may not have enough pitchers here on both teams to finish this ball game. We're in the bottom of the third. We already have 8 runs and 10 hits.
They get a lot or quite a bit of rain here in the northwestern part of the country. They don't use much water in this infield.
It just hit in front of that plate. If you're going to doctor an infield, that would be where you would doctor it. Would be right in front of home plate, but here they may have put in some concrete. Hey, you studied dirt. You told us about the dirt in Los Angeles.
We talked about that in the World Series last year, right? You didn't believe me either, right?
Boy, I tell you, when you said, what, 88? And there it is right there. Just plain old hard dirt is all I can tell you. It hits there and it jumps. Fastball missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lemon is on at second. Yastrzemski is on at first. You slide on that dirt, you're going to come up with what they call in the old days a nice big strawberry. 1-1 pitch. They thought it was a strike, but it's ball 2. 2-1. Andujar's a bit upset.
You know, maybe too early to talk about it, and then again, maybe not, but the record for the most runs in an All-Star game is 20. The way this game has started. It was in 1954. The American League had 11 in Cleveland.
Both bullpens busy. Pitchers loosening up. Whoa, right field. It is a
clear of the California Angels warming up for the American League. That's Bear Bryant, one of the Mariners coaches behind him. He's followed Darrell Johnson around, and a teammate of yours who kept your ball club in it till you got going and Bonham gets going, Mike Lacoste of Cincinnati.
Well, you're right, Tony. That young man right there, Mike Lacoste, has really kept the Cincinnati Reds within striking distance. He's one of the main reasons they're still able to have a shot at it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Porter takes inside. 3-2. Didn't want to do that because they'll be off and running now. They can score on that long single from first base. Yastrzemski. They're playing back for Porter. There they go. Pulled on the right field line, but it is curving foul.
3-2 changeup.
He's done that a couple times, Tom.
3-2 off-speed pitch, a situation right there with 2 outs, the score tied. You would have to guess, if you were a guessing hitter, that the pitcher would be throwing a fastball. Underhar a couple of times now in that situation. Gone with the off-speed pitch, and Darrell Porter certainly wasn't fooled by it. Keeps his hands back good, doesn't he, Tony?
He has really changed his batting stance. He tries to pull everything pretty much. He was with the Milwaukee Brewers early, did not do a whole lot there, but since he's come to Kansas City and got Charlie Lau's help, he's become an excellent hitter.
3-2 pitch. Schmidt, big hop's going to have to go to first. Look out. Throw. Here comes Lemon. He's going to score. Yastrzemski stops at third.
Example of what this hard turf can do to you as we look at Yaz at third. But when Schmidt had to back up on the ball and got on his heels because he got the in-between hop, right when he backed up right here, Lemon lets the ball go by. He throws a little flat-footed. The ball sinks. Garvey tries to dig it out, gets an in-between hop, and Lemon just kept on going. He wasn't going to stop for anything.
Good hustle by Chet Lemon. You know, his running right there may have upset Mike Schmidt when he looked like he might run right in front of the ball. Might have upset Mike at third base.
It's an error for Schmidt. Here's Frank White. Hits the first pitch. Schmidt has it. He's going to go to second. The force is on Porter. Ends the inning. But it's a 5-4 ball game. American out in front. And 2 up. It'll be Larry Boa. Andahar is scheduled to hit. Davy Lopes. 5-4 American League leading the National. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
On NBC's Game of the Week, see Cesar Cedeno lead the surprising Astros against Big Dave Parker and the Pirates, or see the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Cincinnati Reds Saturday.
WTWO, Terre Haute.
July 22nd is the final day to send in your tokens for the Cubs Cards game tickets from Kelly's Potato Chips. So hurry. The Cards play in Chicago August 5th, and the Cubs travel to St. Louis August 12th. Send 10 tokens for each ticket, indicate the game of your choice, and take a group to cheer for your favorite team. All the details on specially marked bags of Kelly's Potato Chips, regular, rippled, or barbecued.
Say, are you our new bat boy?
Bat boy? Bat boy? Say, is your eyesight failing, old-timer? I mean, bat boy indeed.
The four-year agency has grown from a one-man operation in 1920 into one of the leading independent insurance agencies in the Midwest. Their growth in business and commercial insurance is a direct result of their continuing efforts to offer complete insurance services. Four-year began on the business principle of designing insurance programs to meet specific needs. Call on the Four-year team to discuss your special needs. Four-year, an independent agency working for business and industry throughout the Midwest.
We don't know if you've heard about it or not, but in case you haven't, we just wanted to mention that Mies is having a sale. You'll find the biggest savings in town at our store right now. So come in and prepare to change clothes. Shirts and ties, sport shirts, beautiful suits, sport coats and slacks, and a whole lot more. So come in and save. Mies, Terre Haute, Danville, Mattoon, and Marion.
You're looking at the commissioner's box, the commissioner in the first row, former President Ford next to him, John Galbraith next to him as they watch. And going to the third row, the second man in with the light jacket, the striped tie, Chet Simmons. who is leaving NBC to pursue new opportunities, and all of us certainly wish him well, and we thank him for 15 years of service and leadership to NBC Sports. And I'll tell you something, the last couple of years while Chet was president, NBC Sports has just made incredible gains. Boa lines out, first pitch. And I just want to say for all of us, thanks to Chet Simmons, and we wish him well in whatever he does. A good guy. Here is Jackie Clark, the pinch hitter for Andahar. He is one of the coming stars. Larry Boa hit the first pitch in line hard to Smalley. And now it's Clark, one out. Hits it off the handle. Yastrzemski's up, and Stanley covers, and Clark is out. 2 up, 2 down, 2 pitches.
This is one of those basic plays that you work on every day in spring training. A good sinker inside, and Clark gets jammed. And here's the classic. Over to the first baseman and the pitcher covering first.
I'm not so sure, Tom, in this ballpark that a good sinker is the thing you want to have when that ball bounces around. Talking about the ball being juiced up this year, but my goodness.
Here is Davy Lopes. Davy Lopes called out on strikes his first time up, had an infield hit. He's 1 for 2. Pitches outside. Boy, there are a lot of base hits, and everybody's talking about that ball being juiced up, but the home run total doesn't bear that out, Tony.
Al, there have been more hit in this ballpark than any other park in the major leagues up to this point in the season. There are more runs scored, though, I believe. Yeah, American and National League this year. There is Steve Rogers of Montreal. He looks like he's going to come into pitch, Tom.
Mike Lacoste is warming up, but I saw him give the signal down there. Rogers is coming in, yes.
2 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs. I always remember Mr. Rickey talking about the live ball. He says not the rabbit in the ball, it's the quail in the pitchers. There's his strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. American League 5, National League 4. We are in the top of the 4th, and it has just been bang, bang, base hits, runs, and it's going to be that way all night. Lopes takes it inside. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And a statement like that, I expect Tom Seaver to jump up and challenge.
No,
you got to defend your pitchers, kid. Wait a second.
I'm supposed to be neutral in here now. Wait a minute.
High chopper. Smalley, long throw. He's going to have to hustle. What an arm he showed right there. It looked like some milk being poured across the infield there. 3 up, 3 down. That ends the inning. And 2 up for the American League. It'll be Stanley. He's scheduled. I doubt if he gets there. And so Smalley, and it's 5-4.
You work underwater in a treacherous world most men never see. A dark world of unseen dangers, where the jagged steel skeleton of a sunken ship could rip a hole in the belly of a tanker. In dive after dive, your torch burns through the cold steel until it's nothing but another pile of rusting metal. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
When it's time to relax, Miller stands clear.
His ball game, it'll be the 5th position he's played in all-star competition. 2 other men have played 4, Musial and Aaron. There's a new pitcher, Steve Rogers of the Montreal Expos. Got a pinch hitter that he's going to face. It'll be Steve Kemp of the Tigers. Times I've seen him pitch, Rogers. Good control, excellent slider, and that sinking fastball.
Well, Tony, if I had to pick one pitcher, this is strictly my own personal observations of who I like. I feel this fellow right here, Steve Rogers, is probably the best pitcher in the National League right now. Why? He has a great sinker, good slider, just an outstanding sinker, good control of the ball, and very competitive on the mound.
Steve Kemp. He'll not get cheated out of his swings. Rogers against Kemp. Kemp, 326 among the American League batting leaders. Outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. They say about Kemp that someday a pitcher's going to wind up, hold the ball, and he's going to take a swing at him. He wants to hit, loves to hit, aggressive hitter. cut, didn't get it. 2 strikes.
Rusty Staub has helped Kemp an awful lot over the last couple of years, mainly in his discipline and concentration at the plate. Kemp will tell you that he used to let his mind wander at times. He said, now I don't let my mind wander for one pitch. That's partly because of Rusty.
Well hit, right at Davy Lopes. Steve Kemp lines to Lopes, so there is 1 out.
Seems to be the best way to get the hitters out in this ball game, line drives.
Brings up Roy Smalley. Let me tell you, this telecast, I won't tell you. We're going to have a replay on that line drive. Here it comes.
Well, defenses are not very sophisticated in an all-star game because you don't know how to pitch nor play the hitters. But Davy's standing right there.
Fastball misses ball 1. Smalley fouled out his first time up. He flied to left. 5-4, American League leading. Good cut, didn't get it. Rogers is pumping hard. There is Joe Morgan and Ron Say. Little man's in a game anytime, all the time.
He's a fine offensive player, a teammate of mine at Cincinnati. Base hits or walks, he seems to always be on that base.
And he and Say were talking about hitting right there, weren't they?
Joe talking about hitting all day long.
2 consecutive MVP years in the National League, Joe Morgan.
Joe's the kind of guy you talk hitting all day long, and there are not many people that convince him that he's wrong, too. He is very solid in what he thinks about hitting.
Curveball outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Managers like to see that. Sparky Anderson caught 2 of his pitchers reading and sleeping in the clubhouse. He's got him sitting on the bench now. He says you can't learn nothing in the clubhouse. That was a pretty good example of veteran ball players still studying the pitcher. Popped up, third base side, Mike Schmidt makes the play, so there's 2 away, and this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. 2 outs, here is George Brett. 5 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the American League. 4 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for the National League. Brett walked and scored in the first, and he grounded out unassisted in the third. High chopper, Boa, short hop, has it, throw in time. Boa gets Brett. That ends the inning. So we complete 4 innings here. And 2 up for the National League. It'll be Dave Parker, Steve Garvey, and Mike Schmidt. The middle of the lineup, American League is leading 5-4 at the end of 4.
For generations in the tropics, they have known of the naturally soothing qualities of the coconut. Now Foamy introduces new tropical coconut shave cream, soothing and softening with the light, fresh smell of coconut. New Foamy tropical coconut shave cream is so different from what you're using now, you may never want to go back. New Foamy tropical coconut shave cream from Gillette.
Do you know me? Even though I wrote a best-selling book on running, with most people, I need something to jog their memory. So I carry the American Express card. It's the only card with hundreds of travel offices all around the world to help you if you're lost, need traveler's checks, or emergency money. It's nice to know that if you ever run into trouble, you've got a place to run into.
To apply for a card, look for this display wherever the card is welcomed.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
The preceding announcement was furnished by Major League Baseball. As we get a good shot of the Kingdome here, it looks like a sellout crowd. And if it is, there's 58,960. They were expected, and that would make it the 5th largest house in All-Star history. The record was set in Cleveland in 1935 with some 69,000. But they are jammed in here, and they're seeing quite a ball game, Tony.
New pitcher, Mark Clear, the California Angels, and he can throw hard and has a tough slider. Up there! great strikeout ratio to inning pitch, Tom.
68 strikeouts, 73 in the third innings. I was talking to Pat Corrales down there before the game, trying to get some information on some of these American League hitters being in the National League. Of course, they don't see these American leaguers except for spring training. He said he's got a good sinker, a good slider, throws hard, and he's just wild enough to be effective.
Parker thought he had it. He started that curveball outside hoping he'd give up. Parker, batting left-handed, is not too tough on him. I can't wait to see one of those right-handers get up against this youngster.
Some of the people in the National League think that that bat that Dave Parker is using is too big for him. It isn't. I mean, it's like swinging a tire iron. It's so, I mean, it's just huge.
You've got to be strong to start it and stronger to stop it. You're going to check your swing like he just did. But in this ballpark, you don't have to hit it on the meat of the bat. You can get jammed or hit it on the end, and it can go out in the power alleys.
Well, as big and strong as he is, you know, he can hit him out any park, any place.
He can stop that bat, too. There's no need to send him to fresh air camp to build him up.
Lasorda, kind of an unhappy Dodger manager with some squabbling among the team as we went to the All-Star break. Team struggling along in the Western Division. That guy right there, Chet Lemon of the White Sox, is a fine center fielder. He's played the last couple of years with some leg injuries. He can run, he gets an excellent jump, has good instincts out in the outfield.
Number 6, first baseman, Steve Garvey.
He'll back you away. One strike. Curveball misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
All right, there's 1 out. The National League's half of the 5th. What a breaking ball to Garvey. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out. It's been a seesaw game. The American leads 5-4. The National League came up with 2 in the first inning. The American League took the lead immediately, came up with 3. The National League tied it up in the top of the second with 1. Right center field by Garvey. Look out! Jimmy Rice makes a fine running backhand catch to rob Garvey of a possible extra base hit. Chet Lemon at the last second veered away to prevent a collision, and if he'd run into that guy, it might have been all over for Chet.
Here's the replay. Looks like they're going to collide, but Rice he looked like he just taken charge all the way. You saw just a little bit earlier, Lemon was talking to Rice, and it looked like they're trying to get together on what to do, and certainly didn't do it any too soon.
Now it's Mike Schmidt with a triple, a double, 2 runs scored off Mark Clear. 5-4, the American League leads. 1 strike to Schmidt. He is in the midst of that streak you talked about at the top of the show, Tom. It hasn't stopped tonight.
You know, Tony, he's the kind of guy, too, that doesn't get many cheap hits. I was talking to Pete Rose down there before the game. Every one of his hits seems to be a line drive, seems to hit the ball extremely hard.
Is he a good breaking ball hitter? I've heard a lot of people say that he will hit a lot of breaking balls if you make a mistake with it. He may swing at a bad breaking pitch when he's in one of his cold streaks.
He's a kind of a hot hitter. He'll hit anything. You know, when a hitter like Mike Schmidt, he's so strong, excuse me, and his wrists are so quick that for a while he'll hit almost everything.
High fly ball on a 2-ball, 1-strike pitch, but Baylor has plenty of room. So Claire retires aside, 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the last of the 5th here in the Kingdome in Seattle. 2 up. It'll be Don Baylor of the Angels, Jimmy Rice of the Boston Red Sox, and Chet Lemon of the White Sox. There's your score, 5-4.
right, now do it just the way he does.
Pull Edge One Step is the simplest camera in the world. Just press the button and the motor hands you the picture.
Well, go ahead.
The sharp, clear color develops in minutes. See?
Oh, that's very pretty.
That's easy. Anybody could do it.
That's no lie. Oh, hi. We were just talking about you.
Get the One Step.
High gas mileage? Come to Chrysler. Chrysler Corporation is #1 in gas mileage of the big three. Of all the vans with optional V8s and automatic transmissions, Dodge B100 has the highest EPA estimated mileage. Of all conventional pickups with optional V8s and automatic transmissions, Dodge D100 has the highest EPA estimated gas mileage. Want a van or pickup with high gas mileage? Come to Dodge. Chrysler is #1 in gas mileage of the big three.
On NBC's Sports World, from Norway's Bislett Stadium, see John Walker and the world's premier milers chase Sebastian Coe to a new world's record. The Oslo Mile and more this Sunday.
NBC Sports. Go to the last of the fifth. In a packed Kingdome, Ron Say of the Dodgers has come in to play third base. Gary Carter of the Montreal Expos will be the man catching his pitching partner, also of the Expos, Steve Rogers.
Baylor, the first hitter. Scoreboard tells quite a story as this game has been seesaw as we're in the middle of the fifth inning. National League 2 in the first inning. American League went ahead by 1 with 3. National League tied it up in the second. American League was scoreless in the second. But then the National League scored 1 in the third to go ahead 4-3. The American League came right back in the bottom of the third with 2 runs. The score stands at 5-4. We've had quite an exciting evening thus far. We're just about halfway through. The American League home run leaders. Lynn, a little bit of a surprise. Baylor, Gorman, Thomas, Rice, and then Singleton of Baltimore. 2 balls, no strikes to Don Baylor. Baylor feels he has not really gotten the recognition he deserves. Let's see how hot he's been. Month of July. Drove in 99 runs last year. He said if I'd gotten 100, he might have recognized me more. Boa would go to Garvey, 1 out.
Watching Larry Boa, Tony, do want to mention that Dave Concepcion, another one of Tom's teammates, who is supposed to be here, out with an injury. Johnny Bench is out. Dave Kingman didn't play the last couple of days before the All-Star break, and Templeton of St. Louis just decided he would not be here. Ted Simmons of the Cardinals is here, injured hand, but not able to play. He's suited up, and as is Rod Carew.
Jim Rice, he is popped out, he is grounded out. 1 strike. National League, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. That by Schmidt. American League, 5 runs, 4 hits, no errors. Here's a guy who's improved and become more disciplined every single year, and you can see the concentration right there. 1-1. You pitched against him in spring training, Tom?
He almost tore my head off, too. Yeah. Inside pitch, inside fastball, went right back to the middle with it.
Tried to pull it. The ball was a breaking ball away, so it'll go 1 ball, 2 strikes to Rice.
I played golf with Jim a couple of times, and he can smoke it off that tee, boy. He can really get it out there.
2 things he did that really impressed me was when he tried to stop his swing and the bat broke in his hand, which indicates a torque. And then I forget who the player was at Yankee Stadium. He picked him up at home plate, much like a bridegroom carrying his bride across the threshold, and took him right into the clubhouse. That is some kind of strong.
He's a guy like Schmidt, a streak hitter. Good curveball by Rogers, and that'll send Rice back to the bench. Next hitter with 2 downs will be Chet Lemon.
You can see Rogers, a very good breaking ball here. Also has the outstanding sinker. Took a little bit off of it. Of course, Rice way out in front. Strike 3. Here is another good shot of Rice. You can see how far out in front and off balance he is on the off-speed curveball.
With that shot, though, you can see that head was very still. He watched it. He was in front. Rogers just fooled him.
1 strike to Lemon. 2 outs. American League leads 5-4. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Very quickly, Rogers jumps way ahead, 0-2. All-Star game results. See some streaks, 33-49. You can see the American League's domination, 50-62. The National League took over, and what's happened lately, President Lee McPhail would like to forget. So, Rogers has an easy inning. He's 3 up, 3 down with 2 strikeouts. We'll go to the 6th here in the Kingdome. 2 up for the National League. Gary Matthews, Dave Winfield, and Bob Boone with the score. American League 5, the Nationals 4.
One little smile isn't going to change the world, but you know, it's a nice place to start, and this is a nice way to start a smile. Ice cold Coca-Cola. Coke adds life, so have a Coke and a smile.
A Coke and a smile makes me feel good, so makes me feel nice. That's the way it should be, and I'd like to see the whole world smiling with me. Coca-Cola adds life. Have a Coke and a smile. A Coke and a smile. Light up the feeling. Turn on the sun. Have a Coke and a smile. That's the way it should be. And I'd like to see the whole world smiling with me. Coca-Cola adds life. Have a Coke and a smile.
On NBC's Game of the Week, see Cesar Cedeno lead the surprising Astros against Big Dave Parker and the Pirates, or see the St. Louis Cardinals take on the Cincinnati Reds Saturday.
Joe Garagiola, Tom Seaver, Tony Kubek, and Brian Gumble back at the Kingdome in Seattle. We'll go to the 6th inning. I'll correct myself as I ended that last inning. Boone out of the lineup, of course, for the National League. Carter has come in. He'll be the scheduled 3rd hitter in this inning. Recent All-Star games are location. The last one the American League won was back in 1971. That was the game in Detroit where Reggie Jackson hit that tremendous home run off the light standard. Frank Robinson drove in the winning run, and the manager of that ball club, Earl Weaver, one of the best in the game. Wonder if he's out of that tomato patch in Baltimore by his TV set watching this ball game. Matthews clears pitch to him, breaking ball, 1 strike.
Boy, you see the concentration on his face with that close-up. He just had his eyes glued on that pitch. He doesn't take them off. Look at him.
He gets that bat going, doesn't he? He wiggles it behind his ear. Clear way ahead, 0-2. Look at him wind it up. Check swing. Should be easy. Yaz has got it. 1 out. Good slider from Claire. Matthews couldn't hold up. It might have been a strike anyway. It might have had the corner.
With our shot from center field, this one right here, I was watching Porter give those signs, or giving flap signs. It must be tough to see. They're making sure, Tom, it's like he's just flapping. He's not using fingers. It's just a system you can develop with the pitcher. Simple, but
you throw a flap down there. 1 flap is a fastball, 2 flaps curveball or whatever. Especially with nobody on base in a situation like this, you want to make them absolutely as simple as you possibly can.
You might just watch him as Porter gives his signs. He'll put his hand down and just flap it. Now he puts down a finger. Do you believe that?
We set that up good, didn't we?
Oh, boy. Nice going, Darryl.
Maybe they're trying to foul everybody up. They're alternating hitters that way.
National League batting leaders. Foster, Winfield, hitting number 2. Keith Hernandez, he's here today. Brock's here today. Boone, Simmons injured. The irony of that is that Ted Simmons, who's injured today, played for so many years behind the great Johnny Bench, did not get the recognition. Finally, the year that he makes it, he's injured and can't play. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Winfield facing Claire. Winfield, a guy who never played in the minor leagues. But right, San Diego from the University of Minnesota, where he played for the late former major leaguer Dick Siebert. Paul Molitor, the Brewers, also had that experience to play in college for Dick Siebert. 2-2 to Winfield, Tom.
Winfield really gets a cut at this one. He jumps on his high fastball. He just doesn't get it. He leaves his feet. Look at this.
You think that's a pretty good cut? He about left his shoes. That's a good shot of him turning his right hand over, trying to get on top of that ball, too.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Winfield. He is lined out and grounded out in this ball game. I thought Joe had a good line. He hosted the commissioner's luncheon with all the players today. Popped up out of play. What was your line about Winfield when you introduced him, Joe?
I said that he does so much for the youngsters with his own money. I said that some year he's going to win the most valuable player and a Nobel Peace Prize in the same year.
Well, some other awards given out at that banquet today to our director, Harry Coyle, for 25 years of service. Television industry directing our ball game today. Joe Garagiola, 25 years of broadcasting experience. Our congratulations to them. Extra bases in the right center field. Winfield will pull it up with a double, his first hit in this All-Star game. So now the National League with 1 out has the tying run at second base.
Another good shot of a Winfield swing. Like Dave Parker, he has outstanding power to the opposite field. Big long arms. He likes that ball out over that plate, shoves that ball right up the right field alley for a double.
Now it'll be Gary Carter. American League leads 5-4. See by those stats, one of the guys instrumental keeping that Montreal Expos ball club in the lead in the Eastern Division National League.
This fella here, Tony, too, a very intense competitor, and you won't see many check swings from him. Gary, when he goes to ripping, he really lets her fly.
1 strike the count.
Boy, that was...
Ooh, boy, when he dropped down, that ball really broke. Had Carter back on his heels, 0-2.
This will be an interesting pitch. He's got to run on it, scoring position. Will he go get him? Will he stay sidearm? I got to believe he's got to sidearm him all the way because he's backing him off too far.
Winfield's at second. Another breaking ball, but somehow Carter gets his bat on it. Winfield's going to try and score. Baylor's throw comes home. Here he comes. He is safe. Ball gets by, and Carter never stopped running. He went to second base. It is all tied up at 5.
That was a good piece of base running, not the fact that he scored, but Winfield, when he scored, actually took Porter out of the play. Now watch Carter. He just gets it on the end of the bat. He doesn't really sting it. In fact, he had his eyes looking towards right field when he hit it. And Winfield, who can really run, watch this play at the plate, what he does. He could have gone in standing up. I really believe that. Now he slides and he tangles up Porter. He can't handle the ball. And luckily, Clear is back there, and what he did was guaranteed a man going to second.
Shades of Willie Mays right there. It's the kind of things that Willie Mays used to be as a few things he used to do as a great player.
Larry Boa fouled off the first pitch from Clear. 1 strike, 1 out. 5-5 game in the Kingdom. So for the 4th and 5th innings, there was some silence here in the Kingdom. The National League threatening again. Fouled out of play again by Boa. 2 strikes.
I tell you, if the kid pitcher isn't back there, the kid pitcher, it's another base. But Winfield was going to make sure, just a good piece of hustling baseball.
Mark Clear way ahead. National League with 8 base hits. The American League with 4. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Boa. That's Carter down at second base. He represents the lead run in this ball game. It's been nip and tuck, back and forth. Two balls, 2 strikes. 1 out. 5-5 ball game, and a man in the on-deck circle, Pete Rose. 2-2 pitch. Count will go 3-2.
You know, it's interesting. He's not in full uniform, is he? Isn't that the workout shirts they have on? Boa's got the uniform on.
I think so, Joe. I think you're exactly right. Rose's uniform is not their totally uniform. I think that is their workout uniform. Here you can see with the Phillies across. But for the All-Star game, you can admit whatever you want, right?
You got to believe Rose was walking and talking over to Lasorda as Boa walks putting runners on first and second for Rose with one out. Rose was checking with Tommy Lasorda to see if Lasorda knew anything about Mark Claire. Listen to the fan. So Rose will make his 12th appearance in All-Star competition. He has not hit that well. He's hit just .240 overall. He's got runners on first and second. One strike on Pete Rose. There they are. Carter's at second. Larry Bow is at first. We've got a 5-5 game. We're in the top of the sixth. Just missed down low. Young Mark Claire of the California Angels. With 2 men on base, the National League. You know, big Jim Fregosi, the manager of the Angels, was happy to find this man, Mark Claire. 2 balls, 1 strike, no to Rose. Well, are we going to see the challenge? Good fastball pitcher in Claire. A good fastball hitter, Pete Rose. Ground ball. Could be 2. White to Smalley. Yastrzemski blows and the National League are winning. So now we'll go to the last of the 6th. The score is all tied up here at 5 in the Kingdom. 2 up. Yastrzemski, Darrell Porter, and Frank White for the American League.
I got an invitation, but not in the mail. I grab my invitation every morning without fail. I'm shaving close and comfortable, on that you can bet, since I got an invitation from Gillette.
Now, for a limited time only, get the special edition Atra Invitation for less than $1.50. The same pivoting head and face-hugging action that made Atra Gillette's best shave.
At a buy now price. Atra Invitation from Gillette.
We liked the Cordova, we liked the price, we liked the trade-in, so we bought it.
Your Chrysler Plymouth dealer is clearing his 79 inventories. So right now, the deals are fantastic on Cordovas.
As far as I'm concerned, the Cordova's right, the design, the comfort is right up there with the Cadillac.
Great deals on Chrysler LeBarons, too.
We looked at the Oldsmobile and Buick wagons, but we found that the Chrysler LeBaron wagon was the best deal at a good price.
Your Chrysler dealer has the cars. They've all got to go, so let's make a deal.
Where have you been?
At the Colonel's, getting dinner for the family.
Must be tough pleasing a big family like yours.
Nah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Folks like it tender and juicy, 11 herbs and spices. So, original recipe. My brothers like it crisp. So, extra crispy.
What about you?
I'm flexible. I love them both.
It's so nice, nice to feel so good about a meal, so good about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
There's the chicken again. But more importantly, Pete Rose, who's played second, third, left field, and right, and now his 5th position, first base in All-Star competition, sets a record. Musial and Aaron each had played 4 positions before this. Pete Rose was not voted in this year. A tight balloting by you fans put Garvey ahead of him. There's the man who's the new pitcher, Gaylord Perry, Tom.
Well, he continues to amaze everybody at 40 years old and the Cy Young Award winner in the National League last year. Some say that he'll put a little foreign substance on the baseball and make it sink at times. And I talked to him about that one day, and he says, yeah, if you do that, throw it to the manager's favorite hitter to get them all upset.
He keeps it going because he realizes that the threat of him loading the ball up or throwing a greaser is just as effective as a pitch. In fact, he had his young 11-year-old boy out here. He said he's the only 11-year-old little leaguer that can load him up.
When he reported to the Kingdom yesterday for the workout, Joe Licio, the trainer for the National League, San Francisco trainer, had a giant jar of Vaseline right in his locker. He'll face Yaz, Porter, and then Frank White. Perry, 41 years old, 5th All-Star game.
Tony, his manager, Roger Craig, just flat out says he's never been around a more dedicated or a man who can concentrate more than Gaylord Perry. Here he goes. That's part of the act.
We're seeing a good show, not just the most glamorous names in all of baseball, but a 5-5 ball game just beyond the grasp of Davy Lopes, and Yastrzemski starts it off quickly on Gaylord Perry in the National League. Roy Hartsfield, the Toronto manager, the first base coach.
He has, of course, appearing in his 16th All-Star game for the American League. Hits a shot right by Davy Lopes. He has looked like he might be limping as he's running down to first base there.
He's had a little problem. He's going to be replaced now for a pinch runner. It's going to be his teammate from the Red Sox who's going to replace Yastrzemski. It'll be Burleson. Yaz gets a nice hand. Boy, he just keeps going on. In every regular season game that Yastrzemski played, it seems like he passes another man who is who has Hall of Fame credentials. There's Singleton, Bobby Grich, Bruce Bhakti, Nettles, Reggie Jackson.
Batting out for the American League, number 15, catcher Darryl Porter.
Yastrzemski, incidentally, needs just 45 hits in the regular season for 3,000. Brock needs 27 more. There's his replacement, Yaz's, Rick Burleson. Porter went back to the bench. They do not have very sophisticated signs in an All-Star game, obviously, so Porter was called back by Lemon, the manager, to get him straightened out. Say not too tight. He's hitting away. One strike. Burleson at first. It's all tied up at 5. We're in the last of the 6th. Gaylord Perry, who's been a Cy Young Award winner in each league. Right center field. Burleson off and running. It's off the wall. Corrales may try to score. Burleson, he's going to hold him up. He had him coming, and then Whitfield got the ball in so quickly with that strong arm. And Corrales held him up at third. Porter goes with a double. Here it is again.
You can see the pitch from Perry up in the strike zone here. He rifles it up the alley. Pat Corrales at third base made a good play, I think, on holding Burleson up. Winfield has an outstanding arm. Lopes has a good arm. Here you see Burleson taking off. He can see that it's going to be a hit. And he goes all the way. This is good base running. He goes all the way until he's stopped by the coach. That's a thing that many base runners should learn, that they're going until they're stopped.
The anticipation now is for this man who got the loudest cheers with men on second and third, a 5-5 ball game. It's the local favorite player, Bruce Bhakti, and some of the people are standing.
Tony, there's a young man there that's trying not to smile, and Bruce Bhakti. But underneath that shirt, that heart's pumping 180 miles an hour. That's a big moment for a young hitter like that.
He's hitting 326 with 65 RBIs and has a chance to put America. He has a rip. Fouls it off. Carter lost the ball. Burleson's at third. Porter's at second for the American League. And a lot of surprises in those American League batting leaders. You'd expect George Brett and the others, but look at all the young kids. Brian Downey, Smalley, Glenn Adams, Bhakti, all in the top 10. There's Burleson at third. Porter at second. No outs. The National League infield playing in. Perry from the stretch with one strike to Bhakti. 0-2. Reaction speaks for itself. The game is tied at 5. We're in the last of the 6th. Good block by by Carter. He saved a run. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Great play. He got in front of that ball, made sure that ball wouldn't get by him, and this is a good lesson for the youngster. Watch him just shift over there. Get in front of that ball. That's what he did. Played hockey goalie. Can't let that ball get by you. Good play, Gary.
1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs. Runners at second and third for the American League. Perry to Bhakti. Wild off. On deck, Reggie Jackson for the American League. Man, Mr. October. He's got a bat. Will probably pinch hit from Claire, number 9 spot. But right now, the drama of Bhakti facing Perry in a 5-5 ball game. Ground ball. Over the score. So Bhakti puts the American League ahead.
There's a proud young man right there at first base. Looked like a sinker away. Went right with it, right off this very hard surface. A single bouncing over Larry Bowe's head and an RBI for Bruce Bhakti.
There's your score. There's the man that did it. The Seattle Mariners, Bruce Bhakti. Lasorda now with Jackson stepping into the batter's box. He's going to come out and talk to Perry with runners on first and third for the American League. The American League leading 6-5. Lasorda has Lacoste of Cincinnati, a right-hander, and Sambito, a left-hander, loosening up in his bullpen.
It's a good picture of Perry. It is warm here, even though we are indoors. They do have cooling, but the president with his energy program, they've made an announcement, and it's been unusually hot here in the 90s outside. And
Lacoste, the right-hander, Sambito, the left-hander. They're calling for Joe Sambito of Houston to replace Perry with runners on first and third of the American League, leading 6-5. An exciting baseball game we've seen so far tonight. Don't go away, it's not over. Well, there's your score. The American League 6, the National League 5. And we're going to take a break right now for these messages. Your score with Jackson scheduled to pinch hit for Mark Clear. Sambito has come on to replace, there's Reggie. Sambito will replace Perry. The American League has runners on first and third with nobody out. They lead by 1.
Joe Morgan and Chuck Tanner have been hollering at Jackson that he throws a knuckleball, a fastball, a screwball, and a double breaking sinker. They're really just needling Reggie as he comes out.
Well, Reggie's been going to both benches, and what's he throws? He throws the top, throws sidearm. He wants to know, probably, obviously, never seen Joe Sambito, maybe other than spring training, if he has seen him playing with the Astros down there. This young fella has done a super job for the Houston Astros. Not that young fella, that's Reggie Jackson. He does a super job for the New York Yankees. But Sambito has just been outstanding. He's been the stopper out of that Houston bullpen.
There are his stats. Earned run average beat each one. But I think an outstanding stats, Tom, is this one right here. 6 earned runs in 57 innings pitched. And that's one of the reasons that Bill Burton's ball club has played so well in the Western Division National League. I have seen him twice, Tom, and as I recall, he throws pretty hard, does he?
Throws hard and has a very good hard slider and good control, too. Gets good location on both of his pitches. And he can be nasty from that left-hand side to a left-hand hitter.
Well, here we go. Reggie Jackson steps in to face Sambito. No outs. Porter's at third. Bhakti's at first for the American League. They lead by 1, and Reggie Jackson has a chance to pad this lead for the American League. There's Darrell Porter. There's Bhakti. Rose playing behind Bhakti. It has been some kind of ball game here in the Kingdome in Seattle. One strike. All-Star game batting leaders. There they are. Garvey, 500 bench, not here. He's got that muscle spasm. And Reggie Jackson. Way outside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Reggie. Reggie did not appear yesterday in batting practice. About 25,000 people showed up here in the Kingdome to watch batting practice. Everybody came out early today. Reggie did not swing a bat in batting practice. 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's Porter at third. Bhakti at first. We're at the bottom of the 6th. The American League leads 6-5. They're trying to break that streak of 7 consecutive losses in All-Star competition. 1-2 pitch. Way outside, a save by Carter.
Zambito thought he threw that ball away, and that was a good move by Carter. Just reaches out like a first baseman.
Fine move by Carter. I think it's just a matter of Zambito trying to overthrow the ball and really jerked on the slider. Carter did make a super play.
I guess you'd have to say that's one department he has really improved, is catching. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jackson facing Zambito with runners on first and third. There they are. Fouled off. Reggie wanted it. The ball was up. A man who seems to stir up attention even when he doesn't show up. He did it today. Everybody waited in front of the American League dugout for Reggie Jackson to show up for batting practice. They all had their pens poised, their cameras pointed at the dugout, but Jack stayed in the clubhouse. 2 balls, 2 strikes. In hot July. Fouls it off. What a cut. Darrell Porter at third for the American League. Bhakti at first. A 6-5 ball game. The American League leads. It isn't quite the World Series confrontation because not as much is at stake as the Welch from the Dodgers, Jackson confrontation, but this is a pretty good one. 2-2 pitch. Just got a piece of it. Ball really went down.
Very tough situation right here. Makes a good pitch, Zambito does, and Reggie does a good job in fouling it off.
He doesn't throw that good to a sinker ordinarily. Does he?
Looked like that might be a slider.
You think it was a slider?
Yeah, it looked like a slider
Down.
to me. Breaking away from him, yeah.
Jackson, Zambito, 2-2. Nobody out for the American League. Runners on first and third. Too high.
The farther this goes along, this confrontation between Zambito and Reggie, the more the advantage switches to Reggie, because the more he senses the timing of how fast Zambito is throwing. The more pitches that he can see, the better chance he's going to have of hitting him. He's seen his best pitches already. He knows how hard he's throwing. He can judge the speed of it. Unless he throws him a pitch that's clear out of the blue, Reggie's seen everything that Zambito has to offer. Now it's if Zambito can get it in the right spot.
He's pushed him as far as Zambito could go. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled off again by Jackson. The controversial Reggie Jackson, but a man who senses drama and so many times has come through.
Reggie's only sad, Tony, because he can't watch himself play. That's the only sadness he's got. He hits those home runs. He just watches them go in the seats. He's a man of drama.
Here comes the 3-2 pitch once again from Zambito. Ground ball, Lopes, will he come home? Here it comes, low throw, they've got Porter hung up. Say tags him out, there goes Jackson for second, so Darrell Porter very smartly makes an excellent base running play to get the runners to second and third. He stayed the run down just long enough. He broke up the double play, and here it is again.
Watch this replay. Lopes comes right in, and Corner makes the play properly as he runs him back. Now, when Porter falls, that's when he literally makes the play right here, because now Say's got to go to get him, and that's when Jackson rounded first and went to second. Boa turns into a spectator, and there's nobody at second base. Boa was going over to cover third. But so now Carter was already there. Now Carter goes to third. Now Say wants to throw to second, but there's nobody there.
Now with runners on second and third, as we look at the play once again, here's the throw home. Reggie Jackson, smart base running also. He watched the runner ahead of him and then went on to second base as Porter stayed in the rundown long enough. Say had no place to go. Right now they will intentionally walk Smalley, the switch hitter, to load the bases with one out. American League 6, National League 5. We're at the bottom of the 6th. And this is like going from the frying pan into the proverbial fire, because now, one out, bases loaded. George Brett, a tough man to strike out, and a man many consider to be the best player in the American League. Brett fanned just 26 times in 91 games this season. He has speed. He hits to all fields. He can look inside and take you downtown. And boy, he has played through some injuries. Here's a guy you've got to admire. The bases are full for the American League. Say in tight at third. Rose in tight at first. Boa and Lopes looking for the double play. There's your defensive alignment. Bhakti's at third for the American League with one out. Zambito from the stretch. One strike to Brett.
Tom, why do you think he's pitching off the stretch?
Well, he's a relief pitcher, Joe, and he's got to be comfortable. That's the way he's most used to pitching, is not being in that windup. It's really he has his choice in this situation. He can pitch from the stretch or go into the windup. But now a relief pitcher coming in, and he's very used to pitching from the stretch, and that's probably where he's most comfortable.
He's also trying to hold those runners at first and second a little bit closer outside to Brett, so that Smalley cannot get a good jump off first base, trying to break up the double play on the ground ball. Jackson might not get quite the jump off second base where he can score on a single of the outfield. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Zambito to Brett with the bases loaded. 1-2. Brett has walked and scored a run, grounded out and popped out. I know if I'm a shortstop or second baseman, I would like to have him pitch from the stretch at times so that Smalley cannot tear you up at second base on a ground ball. Pull the string, pop up, short left center field. Winfield's got a beat on it. He backhands it. Bhakti's going to hold.
Boy, did they respect his arm. You see that? Now, he caught that ball off balance, turned his back to the infield, and the runner at third, Bhakti, still didn't go to home. He does have a cannon out there in center field, Dave Winfield.
When he almost has the collision, though, it really throws him off. Nobody's taking any chances because he did not make a good throw the way he can throw, but you can see why. Looked like he was going to run into Matthews.
The bases are still loaded for the American League here in the Kingdome. The score is still the American League 6, the National League 5 in the last of the 6th. Lasorda is out once again. May make another pitching change. He's also going to make a defensive change. Boa will leave the game. Craig Reynolds, a former Mariner, will go to shortstop. And that way, let's see what he's going to do with his batting order. Lopes, Parker, and Zambito were the scheduled hitters. So they're going to make a change and probably put Boa, he's out of the lineup, Reynolds, 3 spot. We'll straighten that out when we come back. Right now, Lacoste is in. And there's your score. The Kingdome in Seattle, the American League 6. It's the National League 5. We'll be back after this message.
Yankee Stadium. We lined up these 40 American cars and left their lights on for 1 hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then they all started. They all had maintenance-free diehards. The diehard. It batted 1,000 in Yankee Stadium. Only at Sears.
This is the bench. Every ball player spends at least half his career right here, working on equipment, going over the hitters, or just relaxing. And when I relax, I reach for Copenhagen, the smokeless tobacco. Just a pinch between my cheek and gum gives me rich tobacco flavor without lighting up or tying up my hands. So try Copenhagen, or for you fellas just starting out, Mild Happy Days, tobaccos you enjoy without lighting up. See you, bench.
We're back in Seattle. Joe Garagiola, Tom Sievert, Tony Kubek, with almost 60,000 people, and all of you out there in television land enjoying some kind of ball game. And Tom, here's Mike Lacoste on the pitch for the National League.
Well, Big Mike, my teammate in Cincinnati, 6'6". He's a San Joaquin Valley boy, where I grew up down in Fresno. He's from Tulare in that area. He leads the National League in earned run average, as you can see there, 2.29, and he is having just that superb year. Been one of the reasons the Cincinnati Reds are still in the pennant race. Big, tall fella, unorthodox, goes harder than you think he does, and a lot of great movement on his fastball. He can sink the ball, sail the ball, and he also has a slider.
He'll face a tough RBI man in Don Baylor, the American League and the California Angels, with the bases still loaded. 2 outs, the American League leading 6-5. Baylor is it a double and scored, single and scored, and he grounded out. 1 strike. There's Bhakti. He drove home the 6th run for the American League. Jackson. And there's the runner, Smalley at first. Fouled off. He got one up. 0-2.
If you wonder what it looks like if you're hitting against Mike Lacoste, that's a pretty good shot right there. That's a high slider. I don't think Mike wanted that pitch up there.
You don't think he's keyed up? He's kind of a high-strung kid, isn't he?
He's pretty high-strung, but he's really matured a lot in the last year, Tony. It's really helped him in his pitching. Doesn't let things bother him now.
He's way ahead of Baylor, 0-2. Now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Mike previously would let a, let's say, a bad call or an error or something upset him with his pitching and his concentration. He's really overcome that this year. He's done a super job.
There are your American League RBI leaders. So if you're an American League fan, this is the situation you want. Baylor up with the bases loaded. Fouled off. This inning started when Yastrzemski singled. Burleson pinch ran. Porter doubled. Bhakti with the infield in bounced a hit over Boa. That was the 6th American League run to put him ahead. A ground out by Jackson. They trapped Porter off third. Smalley was intentionally walked. Brett flied out. But there is still a threat going for the American League with the bases full. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bhakti at third. Jackson at second. Smalley at first for the American League. To this point, you can't see a more exciting all-star game. Ground ball. Reynolds. Flip to Lopes, so Lacoste gets the National League out of it, but Bhakti of the Seattle Mariners drives home a run that gave the lead, the American League, 6-5. 2 up. It'll be Lopes, Dave Parker, and then Craig Reynolds for the National League. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station.
I'm going to name every single television manufacturer who offers a warranty as good as Curtis Mathis. Fact is, Nobody else is even close. Curtis Mathis, the most expensive television sets in America, and our warranty is one reason they're darn well worth it.
Central TV Terre Haute, Brooks TV Effingham, and Craig's TV Charleston.
This is Kubota, the mid-range diesel tractor that America needs to fill the gap between tractors that are either too small for the job or too big for your budget. Kubota is an energetic farm worker, construction worker, and a great lawn and ground maintenance machine. Kubota gives you a full range of horsepower from 12 to 47. Kubota, we're looking for work. See your Kubota dealer.
The full Kubota line at Lawn and Garden Tractor Company in West Terre Haute.
The Indiana State Bank offers you a full 5 1/4% daily interest on your passbook savings account from the day of deposit until the day of withdrawal. No penalty for early withdrawal. That's right. The Indiana State Bank offers you 5 1/4% daily interest on passbook savings. At the Indiana State Bank, you'll like our style.
We have got it all for you at Indiana State Bank.
Joe Garagiola with Tony Kubek, Tom Seaver, and Brian Gumbel at the Kingdome in Seattle, where the American League leads the National League 6-5. We're in the top of the 7th, and the scorecard is really starting to look dotted up here. We've got all kinds of changes, and there is the one in the dugout. Nettles is now playing third base. Burleson is playing shortstop. Grich is playing second base. Bhakti's at first base. Jim Kern is the pitcher, and Reggie Jackson is in right field. So you really got to stay on top of it as we see Joe Morgan come in as a pinch hitter. As we see Joe Morgan come in as a pinch hitter for Dave Lopes. And Kern delivers the strike. Remember, after the game now, stay tuned for local news, followed by the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson on most of these stations, except on the West Coast and some Mountain Time Zone stations. These programs will be seen at their regular time. 2 strikes to count on Morgan. Jim Kern came over to Texas from Cleveland, a relief pitcher par excellence. Leads the American League in earned run average 1.48, and what a curveball that just missed. He's a strikeout pitcher, 86 strikeouts and 85 in the 3rd innings pitch. Primarily a fastball pitcher, he can change speeds. Brian Downing behind the plate. Fastball, did he go around? Yes, he did, says the third base umpire. Billy Williams, and Joe Morgan is out on strikes. Billy Williams made that call.
He just overpowered Joe that last pitch, Tom.
Well, again, talking to Pat Corrales before the game about his pitcher, Jim Kern, the reliever here, as you see Morgan going all the way around. Definitely a swing at a Kern fastball. Kern can get it up there with the best of them. Outstanding fastball, and Corrales says that he's come up with a good curveball and a good slider to go along with it. So those numbers that he's throwing at you, that real nice looking ERA of 1 point something, is very understandable.
Here is Parker. Parker struck out, hit a sacrifice fly, and flied to center field. Jim Kern. Up the middle, knocked down by Kern. Here comes Grich. It is not in time. A base hit for Parker, but a good defensive play by Grich.
Well, we sure have seen the versatility of these All-Stars today. We've talked about power a lot, but the speed of Parker, the agility of a Parker, and some of the hard base running we've seen so far in this ball game shows how much pride these men have in themselves and their respective leagues.
Beanie gets down the line. Grich came in hard, off balance throw, and he got good stuff on that ball.
Grich made a good play. He made that play at first a lot closer than it looked like it was going to be, because Parker can really get down that line.
Here's Craig Reynolds, who's come on. Fastball misses, ball 1. Kern, 10-2 record, 16 saves, 41 games. Reynolds, the Astros from this area. Good quick throw. Tanner at third base is looking around at the umpires and saying, well, what about balk, guys? What about balk? Billy Williams is moving in closer at third base as we look at the earned run averages with Kern right on top. There goes Parker. Fouled off. He had a pretty good jump. That's a tip-off on Parker's ability as a complete player. he can steal the base.
Got a pretty good stolen base percentage, too, and there it is. 13 stolen bases in 15 attempts. Kern cocks that left leg kind of high at times, Tom.
He certainly does. You know, I got to think that the NFL coaches have got to be drooling when they look at this guy Parker. 6'5", 235 pounds, a run like that, or I mean, they're phenomenal athletes.
Out of play. I tell you, that Parker's had a few people in Pittsburgh drilling with the years he's had. Tremendous athlete.
You think maybe he puts on a disguise and plays for the Steelers in the winter?
He could do it. 6-5. We're in the 7th inning. The American League is out in front. Jim Kern. Nothing will scare this fella, I tell you. He's got a great reputation as one of those free spirits. One-two pitch. There goes Parker. Bouncing ball. Nettles at third. Fires to first and covering third, Burleson, because Parker had some ideas about coming over. Kern is a practical joker, and to help that reputation, one of the writers was reading A Blind Ambition by John Dean. He tore out the last 5 pages and ate them. Go to the bookstore and find out how it ends.
Learned that trick in the Army, didn't he?
Yeah. Here's Ron Say. Parker's at second base. Strike one. Jim Kern against Ron Say. 268 with 17 home runs. 6'5", 205. Kern, a big guy. Curveball misses. Kern shaking off some signs. Parker's at second base. He's the tying run. High, way high. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs.
You can see Kern looks like he got underneath the breaking ball and flipped it up there. Bad pitch, high in the strike zone. Look at him, he's not very happy about it.
Curveball didn't seem to do anything. Pitch to save. Fastball. That's his bread and butter pitch right there. He's got to throw hard. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ron Say, and as you look at that National League West, you can hardly believe the Dodgers are 17.5 games out of first place. Cincinnati 5.5 behind the league-leading Houston Astros. High, tight fastball. Boy, how it changes in a hurry. Tom Lasorda in a World Series is in last place. 6 months later, Bob Lemon, who won the World Series, is out of a job. You think there's security in managing? And there is Lasorda. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Fouled off, I say. And there is Bob Lemon, who says he just wants to go back to Long Beach and be with wife Jane and try to get it all together. It's been a rugged time for him. One of the more popular guys ever to put on a uniform. And again, that rumor that we're not able to confirm, but Al Rosen, the president of the Yankees, talk around the ballpark is that he will resign from his Yankee position. Jammed him. Nettles at third base has it. There is the throw. Say is out. That ends the inning. We go into the bottom half of the 7th inning. And 2 up for the American League. It'll be the middle of that lineup. Jim Rice, Chet Lemon, and Rick Burleson. 6-5 American League leading the National.
For generations in the tropics, they have known of the naturally soothing qualities of the coconut. Now Foamy introduces new tropical coconut shave cream, soothing and softening with the light, fresh smell of coconut. New Foamy tropical coconut shave cream is so different from what you're using now, you may never want to go back. New Foamy tropical coconut shave cream from Gillette.
I'm going to make a copy of this document. on the Xerox 5400 copier. You see, aside from having a self-diagnostic system and an automatic sorter, it has a document feeder that can handle originals that have been crumpled or even torn. So with the Xerox 5400, even if the original starts out like this, the copy will come out like this.
The day they landed, July 20th, 1969. NBC News marks the 10th anniversary of man's landing on the moon.
Eagle has landed.
Friday on NBC.
Joe Garagiola with Tom Seaver, Tony Kubek, and Brian Gumbel here at the Kingdome in Seattle, where the American League leads 6-5. 6 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the American League. 5 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the National League. We are in the bottom half of the 7th, and there is Joe Morgan, who remains at second base for the National League. Jim Rice will lead it off. Rice popped to the second baseman, bounced out to the shortstop, and then struck out. Jim Rice, 0 for 3 tonight against Mike Lacoste. Pops it up, right side. Parker, Morgan. They lost it. It drops. And it's a 2-base hit, and Rice is going to try for 3, and he will not make it. Dave Parker are talking to each other out there. Morgan and Parker.
That's part of what we told you about the Bermuda Triangle from second base to right around that spot, back out towards center field. But what a recovery to show a tremendous throwing arm with a perfect one-hopper to say to get Rice. Wow.
Boy, I'll tell you, when you got an arm like that, you can erase a lot of mistakes. When you have speed like him, you can erase a lot of mistakes. He just simply lost the ball, and then when he threw the ball, Tony, he looked around and threw his arms up to say, I never did see it. So there's 1 out. Time is being called as something came flying out of the, it looks like a Frisbee, is it? In center field.
They talk about in this, it's another thing that Whitfield can do. He's got to find something he can.
The only thing, he slows up a little bit between second and third, I believe. Is that something? He threw that Frisbee about 90 yards. Here's Lemon, 1 out. Strike 1. It's an area that the players refer to as a triangle, and we saw it. We've seen just about everything in this game so far. We're in the bottom of the 7th. 6-5, American League leading. Strike 2 to Chet Lemon, Mike Lacoste. Ryan and Carlton were the starters. But we've had a few athletes in this game, and this crowd, a sellout crowd, really enjoying it. One ball, 2 strikes. Fouled out of play. Beautiful Pacific Northwest. And we certainly want to thank our local NBC affiliate, KING, for some of the beautiful scenery shots, and the Kingdome. We want to thank them for, well, just a great cooperation and making a great trip even greater. Everybody enjoying it. Foul ball.
Joe, and a couple friends of ours I know, Johnny O'Brien, you played with Johnny. He works here for the Seattle Mariners. A pitcher I played against, Ted Boachfield with the Red Sox. He works here. They've done quite a job. Here's the foul off the foot by Lemon.
That they have. Luncheon today was a sellout. A lot of enthusiasm here in Seattle. Fouls it off again. Lemon hanging tough. Lacoste throwing strikes. Does that upset a pitcher, Tom? Do you get a little bit disgusted if they say, for crying out loud, here, hit one?
Hit it between the lines. You know, you're wasting energy, and you want to get going. You know you're throwing well. Mike's doing a fine job here, keeping the ball down in the strike zone. Good sinker ball. I tell you what, he has to do a good job for Lasorda. He only has 2 more men down in the bullpen. Bruce Sutter.
In time, that gets him.
Only 2 more guys left in the bullpen for Lasorda, Sutter, and Joe Niekro.
One with a split-fingered fastball suitor and then a knuckleballer Negro. There you see the commissioner and former President Gerald Ford, John Galbraith, Pittsburgh organization, next to President Ford. And behind the commissioner, Mrs. Kuhn, there is Mr. Mulholland, president of, I don't even know his title. What is his title? President of the NBC television network. I better learn his title. Center field, Winfield going back. He's there, makes the catch. So it is 3 up and 3 down. Helped by the strong arm of Dave Parker. So that ends 7 full innings and 2 up. Here in the 8th inning, Gary Matthews, Dave Winfield, and Gary Carter, 6-5 American Leaguers leading.
Filling up, drinking down. Delta's the faucet that's known all around. Soaking in, drinking up again. That's when Delta faucets are a very good friend. Delta Faucet, the name people trust. For washerless faucets, ask your plumber for us.
Delta Faucets. No washers, no washer worries.
The problem? Keeping the busy Red Lion Inn near Seattle smooth running and profitable. Working with the hotel, a Bell System team headed by Eileen Skidmore proposed this solution. An electronic communication system that speeds room status information to the front desk and to the housekeeper.
That's done.
Even automates wake-up calls. Result, the owners want new Bell systems for their 38 other hotels. Another case that shows the system is the solution.
On NBC's Sports World, from Norway's Bislett Stadium, see John Walker and the world's premier milers chase Sebastian Coe to a new world record. The Oslo Mile and more this Sunday.
NBC Sports.
Well, that Sunday you'll see Sports World at Oslo Mile, but we want to remind you now, we'll be getting baseball again on Saturday, and we got some dandy games. The Houston Astros, we're going to see them against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Cincinnati Reds against the Cardinals. So you check the local listing for the game in your area, but the Houston Astros, I'm anxious to see them. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, Cardinals playing good ball. Cincinnati. Lee Mazzilli is the pinch hitter from the New York Mets, and this is another up-and-coming young star.
First All-Star appearance, and I think what's interesting of these two teams' makeup, 19 first-time All-Stars are in this park today. Talk about anybody fearful that baseball does not have any new young stars. That'll disprove it.
Mazzilli takes it high, ball 1. Fastball. 2 balls, no strikes. American League leading 6-5. Lee Mazzilli, youngster, worked hard to overcome physical handicap growing up as a youngster. Wanted to be a ball player, stayed with the daily exercises. Phil Cavaretta, great Cub, worked with him as the batting instructor when he's with the Mets, and here he is in an All-Star game. Well hit to left field, down the line. Nobody's going to get this one. It is a home run. Lee Mazzilli ties it up.
Young man right there, Lee Mazzilli. I had the pleasure of playing with him for a couple of years in New York when I was still with the New York Mets. He's really become a fine hitter. He's really learned the strike zone, and he goes with the pitch now. The pitch away he'll go with that ball. A lot of strength, and here it is, an opposite field home run.
He stayed right with it, both hands on that bat and follow through. 13th home run by a pinch hitter. The last one was by Yastrzemski in 1975. And we're all tied up again, and here is Dave Winfield. It's a strike call. I tell you, boys, like two heavyweights just punching each other out here tonight.
There are not too many players in All-Star game history who just did what Mazzilli did. First All-Star at bat, and he hits a home run.
1 ball and 1 strike on Winfield, who has gone all the way. Line to right, hit into a force play, driving a run, double and scored. Fouls it off, out of play. 6-6, that's the score. We're in the 8th inning. A home run by Lee Mazzilli as the pinch hitter has just tied it up. One ball, 2 strikes, nobody on, nobody out. Winfield. High curveball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fastball, threw it by him. Winfield is out on strikes. There it was, strength against strength. And Kern won the battle.
Dave Winfield with those big long arms and a big swing, the place to pitch him. If you can throw hard, try and get inside on him on the inside part of that plate. Just don't make a mistake, that's all.
He gets his cuts, doesn't he? Here's Gary Carter. Carter drove in a run as he blooped a single to left field his last time up. Low, ball 1. Gary Carter. I'll tell you, that home run by Mazzilli off Kern, he backed him off, had a good cut, fouled it off the mask of Downing. And home run off Kern by Mazzilli really is newsworthy because Kern has allowed only 1 home run in 85 innings during the season. Downing checking that mask. You get hit one of those foul tips, that's the first thing you're going to do. Fastball is low. 1 home run in 85 innings, and Mazzilli comes up as a pinch hitter and hits one in an all-star game. But then again, that's why they're here. They're all-stars. You are seeing the best. 2-1 pitch. Hit off the end of the bat. Bakhti makes the play. It's a foul ball. He's going to throw the ball out. Shooting for the outside corner. Carter kind of reached for it.
He got way out in front of a breaking ball. It looked like he almost hit on the end of the bat.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Jim Kern hops it up near that triangle again, although Grich is calling for it and makes the play. So there are 2 away, and Keith Hernandez has come out of the National League dugout.
I'll say one thing, Bob Lemon and Tommy Lasorda have certainly made this a true all-star game because they are using their rosters. With Hernandez batting now, there's Tom Lasorda. Who we got left? Jackie Clark for the National League, Larry Parrish, and John Stearns.
And Necro and Suter that
2 pitchers
Seaver was talking about.
Well, that could be an important factor going down here, too, Joe. They've got 2 innings left in this, or less than 2 innings. Only Necro and Sooner left for the National League. And the American League, Lemon still has Guidry, Tommy John, Dave LeManchik, Sid Monge, and Don Stanhouse.
Right. And he's got Newman and Singleton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players for the American League. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now Hernandez is in, so make it 4. So they're using them all. Fastball catches the inside corner. 2 strikes. Keith Hernandez hitting .325 as we look at Pete Rose in the on-deck circle. Hernandez having a good year for the Cardinals. Good fielder. Good hitter. High. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think I had Clark still available. He's gone. He's been used in the ball game.
He was way out in front. So Hernandez is out on strikes. Kern doesn't really realize that the inning is over, but it is. And 2 up as we come into the bottom half of the 8th. It is Brian Downey, Bruce Botke, and Reggie Jackson. We're tied at 6 apiece.
For higher gas mileage, come to Chrysler. Chrysler Corporation is #1 in gas mileage of the big 3. When comparing models with standard engines and transmissions, Chrysler has 12 the top Toyota Celica in estimated miles per gallon, 4 the top Ford or GM's best mileage car, 5 the top gas engine Rabbit, and nobody has more models with estimated 25 miles per gallon than Chrysler. Want higher gas mileage? See your Dodge or Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Hamburger.
6 pounds, top round.
Beer.
4 6-packs, 1 can missing.
Never mind that. Potato salad.
Potato salad.
Charcoal.
3 bags.
Beans.
Boston.
Pickles.
Kosher.
Ice.
Melting and back.
Horseshoe.
4.
Polaroid film.
In the bag with potato chips. Back in the store.
You aren't ready for the big weekend until you've got plenty of Polaroid film.
Get enough Polaroid film.
How would you like to have this official 1979 All-Star Game souvenir program, the same one sold at tonight's game? Well, now you can. Just send $3 to All-Star Program, Box 4100, Seattle, Washington. This souvenir program is full of photos, stories, and baseball information. Make your check for $3 payable to the Seattle Mariners and send to All-Star Program, Box 4100, Seattle, Washington, 98104. And be sure to include your name and address.
The preceding announcement was furnished by Major League Baseball. And watch this. All right.
Pete Rose is in the dugout, in the clubhouse, asking him to do that during this game, too.
Okay, we appreciate that sign. Dave Winfield has gone to left field. Lee Mazzilli stays in the game in center field. And the new pitcher from the Chicago Cubs, Bruce Sutter, he of the split-fingered fastball. Bobby Downing is the catcher. The batter, rather. Obviously, he's the catcher. Where else would he play? Okay, Brian Downing. Oh, he backed him out at that time. 2 quick strikes by Bruce Sutter.
That split-fingered forkball, Tom. I don't hate to say it's the most devastating pitch in the game. Boy, I've seen some good hitters have some bad swings at that thing.
Well, it's there, Tony, and then it's not. It's, I share my ride to work most every day with Bill Bonham. Of course, Bill played with Bruce Sutter, and we've talked about this pitch coming in, and Bill tries to throw it once in a while. I still don't understand. I don't understand it.
Tony, you call it a split-fingered forkball. Has he changed the name?
Some say split-fingered fastball. It was taught to him by a man who spent a lot of years, a friend of yours I know, Joe, the late Freddie Martin. Right. He died not too long ago. Martin then moved over to the White Sox with Don Kessinger as a pitching coach, but he taught the pitch. Split-fingered fastball.
Hot smash. Downing is on with a base hit. Downing has just made himself a good hitter. And over the winter, bought a tee, bought a net, and just practiced and practiced. He's on at first. And here comes the man of the hour, Bhakti.
He just overpowers that ball. Brian Downing. They call him the Incredible Hulk. Some say he's the strongest man of the American League, Downing.
Bruce had a base hit his first time up, a big one. We're all tied up here in the bottom of the 8th at 6 apiece.
You might see something that's a little rare here, too, in an All-Star game. You may see a bunt.
And there it is. Sutter's only play will be to first base. Morgan covers the sacrifice, executed perfectly.
Not very often will you see an All-Star get asked to bunt a man into scoring position, but here we are in the 8th inning. And they need that runner in scoring position with nobody out. Bruce Bhakti does his job very well.
So, Reggie Jackson is the batter. Get a delay here. Let me remind you that tomorrow on the Today Show, a live interview with former Nicaraguan President Anastasio Somoza. That's tomorrow on Today, a live interview with the Nicaraguan President Anastasio Somoza. Delay because this egomaniac decides to run on the field, and unfortunately the fans reacted to it. I just wish that Parker, one of those big guys, would grab him. He didn't come out to watch a ball game. He came out to make a fool of himself, which would be a euphemism. Everybody enjoying the ball game. The momentum is really going. We got a tied up ball game. And then you get some guy like that running around. Ridiculous.
I tell you, he's lucky, too, Joe. He ran over and shook hands with Pete Rose. And Pete's a pretty calm player. He plays way up high, but he's a pretty calm player. He's lucky he didn't walk up to somebody and get punched right in the nose.
I remember Pearsall one time, a guy ran out there. He did what I would like to have done. Kicked him right in the seat of his pants. Jackson's been intentionally walked.
Here's what happens after the bunt. You lose a couple of swings or one big swing from Reggie Jackson.
I think Pearsall was not alone in that kind of treatment of those guys. Mike Curtis once greeted a guy who ran out there. At any rate, our intruder's gone. Downey's at second. Jackson is on at first. And Bobby Grich is the batter. Grich had a big day against the Yankees. Hit a home run to beat Guidry and had all 5 RBIs. So he's on a tear. Right now he's up against Suter. 1 man out. Tie score. Bottom of the 8th. Ask him. Yes, he did, says Lee Wire. Strike 1. Lee Wire of the National League at first base. Jackson and Wire visiting, but it's strike 1. Grich.
There's Bruce Suter's at
2 strikes.
Fourth ball or whatever it is. If you just look at his numbers are really tell something. 23 hits in 52 innings pitched. This in 32 games so far, a 1.21 earned run average. 22 saves, leads the National League.
How about 59 strikeouts in 52 innings pitched? That'll tell you something.
There's a strikeout. Grich. Suter went to work on him, got him. So there are 2 away. American League bullpen gets active as we look at Suter. Greg Nettles, the batter. Nettles with 13 home runs, 29 runs batted in. Nicknamed Puff. Yankee players say he starts it and then Puff is gone. High, ball 1. Downing's at second. Jackson is at first. Nettles the batter. There are 2 outs, and we're tied at 6 apiece. Bottom of the 8th. Didn't get it. 1-1 to count. See the base runners. Downing second. Jackson's at first. Greg Nettles. It's starting the second half. Can the Yankees come back like they did last year? What about Houston? What about the Dodgers? A lot of questions to be answered. We get going again here. There's a strike. Tom, you're off and running now. You seem to be all straightened out.
Well, pitching a little bit better lately, thank you. Yeah, Joe?
You're pitching a lot better, and baseball fans glad of it. Line drive, right field. We may have a play at the plate. Big hop. Here comes Downing. Here's the throw. It is. He knocked him off the plate. What a tag by Carter. A tremendous play by Carter. Oh, baby, what a play.
And what a throw by Dave Parker, who continues to show why some people consider him the greatest player in the game. One big hop. Watch it. Great play by Carter, as you said, Joe. A strong throw. Downing tries to slide inside, away from the ball, but Carter blocks him off.
He knocked him right off the plate, never did let him in. How Carter was able to catch that ball. Now he cuts loose with the ball, but now watch Carter knock the runner off the plate. Right there, he pushes him off, almost gets in there. Look at his hand. Tremendous work by our crew. And Carter comes up with the ball, and he had a good ball to handle, Tony.
Oh, I'll tell you, all the way on the fly. No hitting a cutoff man in this situation. No slowing the ball down on hitting on the artificial surf or anything else. He threw it all the way on the fly, and it was not that shallow.
So, what a play, and we've got 8 innings, and we're still tied at 6 apiece.
One's too strong, one's too light, one's just wrong, one's not quite It's no fun until you find the one that hits you just right.
Menin Skin Bracers got the nice, clean smell you're looking for in an aftershave. Skin Bracers got those skin tighteners and chin chillers that really wake you up. And there's nothing heavy-handed about it.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer hits you just right.
You know, a lot of people think Billy and I argue all the time. Actually, we agree on just about everything, right, Bill?
You betcha, George.
We even drink the same beer.
Light beer from Miller. Light's got a third less calories than the regular beer, and it's less filling.
And the best thing is it tastes so great.
No, George, the best thing is less filling.
No, Bill, it tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy, it tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy?
Yeah, George.
You're hired.
Not again.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Did I say hired?
The race for the 1980 Olympics has already begun. The games in Moscow are just the last lap of a long, grueling race that's going on right now. We've got the talent, but we need your support because America doesn't send athletes to the Olympics. Americans do. Don't let our team get caught short. Send a contribution to U.S. Olympic Committee, Box 1980N, Cathedral Station, Boston. For contributions of $10 or more, you'll receive this antique brass Olympic belt buckle. This message sponsored by the U.S. Olympic Committee and NBC.
Will lead it off. What a tremendous play we saw. That's one you're going to see a lot of. Another look, and congratulations to our producers, George Finkel, our director, Harry Coyle, and all the guys. Look at this, how he pushes him off. Now, Rose is in the foreground, and watch his reaction as Carter. He thinks he's got it, and now he...
Look at Rose.
Look at Rose. Look at Rose. He called him out, yeah. He's helping the umpire.
Nettles hit a good pitch, too. He had a pitch that was right off his shoe tops. Those split-fingered fastballs. It seemed like he was going to score for a second, didn't it?
It did that, Tony. And now it's Kern against Pete Rose. Ball one. Top of the ninth inning. Foul ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gives me a chance to thank Ted Boasfield and the Kingdome staff, the Seattle Mariners, Daniel O'Brien, Kip Horsburgh, Jeff Odenwald, and of course Commissioner Bowie Kuhn and his staff, and all the people from baseball in both leagues who have just helped us so much. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nobody on, nobody out. 9th inning. Left field. And a nice running catch. Beautiful running catch by Jim Rice.
Tony, he was a guy that was very displeased about being a DH over there in Boston, wasn't he?
He certainly was. In 75, his first year, as we look at this off-speed pitch that Rose lines to left, he did have a good year defensively in 75, but then with some of the other things that happened with Yastrzemski moving from first base and a lot of changes in that ball club and Scott et al., he was a DH, but he wasn't bad in 75, and then he got the bad reputation. He can run pretty well.
Morgan came on to replace Lopes, struck out in the 7th. Ball 1, high, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. 6 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the American League. 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for the National League. What a ball game we have had. Morgan was going for one downtown. He had a pitch and he had a cut. Jim Kern. Fastball misses. 3-1.
Joe has really struggled along this year, and I know he's really been hurt at times. Some of the fans have booed him. Man, 2 consecutive years, an MVP.
Morgan draws a base on balls, and managers just don't like to see that base on balls in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Here is Parker, who made that tremendous throw to get Downing at the plate.
Appreciative hand from these fans of the Kingdom for the great throw and all-around play of Parker today.
Well, when we showed you Parker in the lineup, we talked about him being a complete player. Close, they're going to call a balk. Balk. And now Kern's going to argue with Lee Wire.
There's a little difference in the interpretation by National American League umpires. American League, they don't call that kind of move a balk, where you jump up and turn, but they are in the National League, and Lee Wyer's a National League umpire, Tom.
I've noticed that, Tony, and watching the games through this season, watching some of the American League teams, it seems to me, being a National Leaguer, that's definitely a balk. Now, as a National Leaguer, that's a balk to me, and of course, that should be on Jim Kern's mind, knowing that you have a National League umpire at first base. You can't do that. You can't turn. You can't spin on that left heel. That's why you got to pick it up and turn it over there.
How can you adjust for one game? You've been doing it all season or a couple of seasons, and then you've got to adjust for this game?
It's an all-star game. You got to pay the price, Tiger.
Parker, as we take another look at Jim Kern's move, Parker is the first time an outfielder had 2 assists in an all-star game. So you think about his bat, and now it's his defense. It's a fastball low, 2 balls, no strikes. Big guy can do it all. Tie-breaking run on at second base, Joe Morgan. They're going to put him on, it appears, because everybody is shifted over now. Yes, they are. They're going to put him on. The on-deck batter is Craig Reynolds. So there is the intentional walk, and we've had it all. We've seen just about everybody that's made the club. We've had home runs, pinch hit home run. We've had defensive plays, hard slides, great pitching, and here we are tied in the 9th. Joe Morgan at second, Parker at first, Craig Reynolds. What a ball game this has been. Tremendous crowd, and nobody has gone home. Fastball is inside. The official attendance here, 58,905. It's the 5th largest in all-star history. Baseball attendance is up some 900,000 from last year league play. 24,513 plus. It's a record pace. Baseball fever is being caught all over the U.S. and a game like this just adds to it. 6-6, we're tied. Strike is called. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bullpen for the American League gets active. Time being called now. Something came out of the stands in right field. Rich just checking with his pitcher. Ron Guidry. Guidry in the bullpen. They don't have much left. Manchek, John, Stanhouse, Mungie, Guidry, Newman, and Singleton. Fastball misses. 2 balls and 1 strike. National League side, Stearns, Parrish, and Necro. That's it. Morgan's at second. Parker is at first. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. There you see the big guy.
No pitch. Ball on the field, Joe.
No pitch.
No pitch.
No pitch.
No
there was
pitch.
a ball on the field. He's going to get another shot.
It was the umpire down in the left field corner, Terry Cooney of the American League. The ball got loose in the bullpen, and it was on the field, so he called no pitch. Kern is upset. He's the pitcher for the American League. There the man is, Terry Cooney.
So Kern will have to do it again. Reynolds gets another chance. The ball came out of the bullpen. Terry Cooney called it no play. It came out of the American League bullpen, and Reynolds gets another shot. There's Guidry. Bryant behind him. You saw Stanhouse sitting down there. And that's where that ball came from. Fouled it back.
So, Joe,
what does that do to a pitcher? I just want to find out from Tom, Tony.
Well, you can't really let it do anything to you, Joe. You just got to say it's like a foul ball, go get it.
Yeah, but do you have to give yourself a pep talk, a little extra?
You just say, get right back into your game plan. Don't be getting your nose out of joint. That's when you start making bad pitches, start hanging curveballs and things like that.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. Scores tied. We're in the 9th. Morgan's at second. Parker is at first. Popped up, foul territory. Nettles is coming hard, and Nettles makes the play, and he almost lost it. Look at him puff and say, "Oh, baby."
Well, we've talked off and on during this all-star game here in the Kingdom, but how you can lose the ball. Here's a man who might have, well, as good a glove as anybody in baseball, and that one almost sneaks out.
So there are 2 away. Nettles heads back towards third, looks up and says, "I don't know if I'd like to do that all the time." Ron Say. Say, born in Tacoma, Washington, right in his area. Morgan, the tiebreaker. Fastball is inside. Say, along with many of the Dodgers, talking about what's wrong with him. Nobody can figure it out. It's more that they're puzzled. And it'll begin right after this all-star break. And we'll be in Pittsburgh to see those division-leading Houston Astros and Pirates. Foul tip, and then the Cardinals in Cincinnati. That's the game of the week. We'll have some dandies coming down the stretch. One ball, 1 strike. Joe Morgan, the tiebreaker at second. Parker with great speed at first. Fouled out of play. Kern took a little bit more time that time between pitches to throw him off, Tom.
He has good stuff, too. He's got a good, hard fastball. That pitch right up around Ron Say's letters. Right off the handle and didn't get the bat head out front at all. Kern can get it up there pretty good. I'm very impressed with this tall right-hander.
Tell you, he has been doing some job for Corrales and Brad Corbett and those Texas Rangers. 1-2 pitch. Low, 2-2.
American League infield, especially at short and second, Burleson and Gritch playing kind of deep. They're jockeying a little bit, Morgan, but then they'll go back because they want to knock anything on the ground down, keep it in the infield. There's Mazzilli on deck.
2-2 pitch. High. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. They'll be off and running. Parker can now score from first. There's Mazzilli, who tied it up with a pinch hit home run. Down the left field line. Kern, who had only given up 1 home run in 85 innings, and Mazzilli touched him for a home run tonight. 3-2 pitch. There goes the merry-go-round. High, the bases are loaded. 3 walks have loaded the bases as Lasorda looks on. Bob Lemon is coming out of the American League dugout. If you think it's just another game, how about it, Tom? What does it mean to the players? What does it mean to the players? You guys played in it.
Well, I tell you, Joe, this all-star game, I've been very fortunate. I've been able to play in 11 of these things. And it's almost like a party atmosphere. But once that game starts, it is all business.
Okay, Ron Guidry comes in. We've got a break in the action, a tie score, bases loaded, 2 outs. We're coming back, and so will you, I'm sure, after these messages.
We like the Cordova, we like the price, we like the trade-in, so we bought it.
Your Chrysler Plymouth dealer is clearing his '79 inventory, so right now the deals are fantastic on Cordovas.
As far as I'm concerned, the Cordova's right, the design, the comfort is right up there with the Cadillac.
Great deals on Chrysler LeBarons, too.
We looked at the Oldsmobile and Buick wagons, but we found that the Chrysler LeBaron wagon was the best deal at a good price.
Your Chrysler dealer has the cars. They've all got to go, so let's make a deal.
Pa! Are
You sold out of my Gillette Track 2 blades again. Never happened when I ran the store.
These other twin blades will do.
Hogswoggle. Gillette Track 2's micro-smooth blades shave me better.
But these'll fit your Track 2 handle.
Handle schmandle. Gillette Track 2 shaves safer, smoother, and comfortable.
But, Pa...
Guess I buy my Track 2 blades someplace else.
To guys who use Gillette Track 2, no other blade will do.
On NBC's Sports World, from Norway's Bislett Stadium, see John Walker and the world's premier milers chase Sebastian Coe to a new world's record. The Oslo Mile and more this Sunday.
NBC Sports.
From the Kingdom, Joe Garagiola with Tony Kubek, Tom Seaver, and Brian Gumbel, and what a ball game we have. Parker's on his second. Here's that play where he makes a tremendous throw and gets a lot of help from Gary Carter all the way on the fly. Downing is trying to score the tiebreaker. And watch Carter once he gets the ball. He knocks the base runner off. Look at the right hand trying to get in there. He gets it with the knee, pushes him off, makes the tag, and that is right now the key play of the ball game. And Mazzilli, batting right-handed, takes it high, ball one. And again, tremendous coverage by our guys. Mazzilli, batting right-handed against Ron Guidry. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Ball 2.
Two members from the New York teams right here. Guidry, of course, with the Yankees, Mazzilli with the Mets. Bases loaded, no place to put him.
Hot smash foul. Lasorda turned him loose, and he smashes one foul. It is 2 balls and 1 strike. Ron Guidry, 42 base on balls all year, a 6-7 record. 3 losses in a row, is in there with the bases loaded. And Mazzilli, the batter, a 2.51 earned run average. Best in the American League among the starters. 3-1. He's in a heap of trouble now. You know that they're going to turn him loose. They turn him loose 2-0. He can pick his pitch. 6-6. We're tied. We're in the 9th. 2 outs. Here it comes. Ball 4. Walked him in. On balls in this inning, and the National League has taken a 7-6 lead. And here is Winfield, and the danger here is he might let up, Tom. This guy jump on the first pitch.
There's the look of disgust from Ron Guidry after he let that pitch go. He knew the run was coming home. Last year's Cy Young Award winner in the American League.
Winfield. Base is still loaded. 7-6. National League leading. Jumps on the first pitch, and boy, you always have to worry about that.
For a guy who throws as hard as Guidry, he ordinarily has good control. He credits 2 men for his success. Sparky Lyle, who taught him the hard slider down in the bullpen, one that didn't hurt his arm, and Dick Tidrow. Now with the Cubs.
Bases loaded, 1 strike pitch. High chopper, Burleson, big hop, force at second is in time. That ends the inning, but the National League, they take the lead with a run and due up for the American League in the bottom half. The pitcher spot, Jim Kern is scheduled, followed by Jim Rice and Chet Lemon. 7-6, National League leading, bottom of the 9th.
You know, trying to run a Major League Baseball club isn't all fun and games.
The pressure's always on. And for guys like us, there's no off-season.
So when you wheel and deal as much as we do, you can't afford to get filled up.
That's why we drink light beer from Miller. It's got 1/3 less calories than the regular beer, and it tastes great, too.
How about that trade? How about throwing in Bud Harrelson?
Let's see, Bud Harrelson, Gates Brown, and Mudcat Grant.
Right, with 2 Blue Powells and a Ferris Fain.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I want a Frank Malzone.
Nobody can sing a summer song like you. Golden times and warm sunshine frame your point of view. McDonald's can.
NBC proudly presents specials from Miss America to Bob Hope in China. See why we're
NBC, proud as a peacock.
Ken Singleton will be the pinch hitter for Jim Kern as we go into the bottom of the ninth. And due to the length of the game tonight, an exciting game that it is, the Tonight Show will not be seen, but local news will follow this game with the Tomorrow Show 30 minutes later, and that's on the East Coast. Now, viewers on the West Coast will see local programming with the Tomorrow Show at 11:30.
Got a new third baseman, Joe and Tom, for the National League, Larry Parrish. There's your chicken. He's got a lot of time tonight.
Parrish is at third, and look at the chicken talking to Billy Williams. Okay, Suter against Singleton, the pinch hitter. Parrish is at third. Low ball one.
Another thing about Suter, Joe, he doesn't waste any time. He gets the ball and boom, he's throwing again. He's not a guy to waste a whole lot of time on that mound.
And there's the strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. They're really guarding the line. Both the first and third baseman really guarding the line against Singleton. And here's his shot of the defense. Look how close Rose is to the line. 2 strikes. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Suter's coming at him, boy. He's just oozing confidence, it seems like.
The outfielders also have moved a little bit deeper. Little likely chance of an extra base hit. You can cut off the alleys a little more. Parker deep in right, Winfield in left, and Mazzilli in center. There's your defense.
Joe Morgan at second base. There's 1 away. The crowd trying to get something started. 1 out, and Jim Rice is the batter.
This is the one guy that's played the entire game for the American League. And then the National League has 2 guys, Dave Parker in right field and Winfield out in left field. I wouldn't yank this guy out of the lineup myself if I was the manager. Would you, Tony?
Takes 1 swing with this guy,
yes,
doesn't
sir.
it?
Strike is called. 7-6, National League leading. We're in the bottom of the ninth. 1 out, nobody on. Strike 2.
That pitch must really break late, Tom, because so many times you'll see that split-fingered fastball start about belt high, but it breaks right at the last. The bottom falls out and ends up at times in the dirt, and yet good hitters, disciplined hitters, will swing at it.
Well, they have to commit themselves. I've heard people say, well, how can you swing at that? It's in the dirt. But if you can't wait too very long and it breaks so late down that you have to commit yourself. You have to go after the pitch.
Rice is out on strikes, 2 away, and take a look at this swing. Does he come close?
Look where that ball ends up. Down at the ankles, and it started around the belt. It'll go down and sometimes act like a screwball, that time going in to the right-handed hitter, but it's just so hard.
So, 2 outs, nobody on. Chet Lemon against Bruce Suter. White Sox against the Cubs. Ball 1. This game has had everything. With all the expectation, the power, a base on balls did it. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes.
And unless something pops in a hurry for the American League, the National League will continue the dominance of this All-Star Game competition.
Mazzilli knocked in a tying run with a home run and winning run with a base on balls. How do you like that? Inside, 3 balls and no strikes, and now Suter is flirting with trouble. Lemon takes a look at Corrales. 2 outs, nobody on. 7-6, National League leading. Ball 4, tying run is on. Brings up Rick Burleson. Coast in the Central Time Zone. The local news will follow the game as Burleson takes his strike. Those of you in the East Coast, in the Central Time Zone. Local news will follow the game. Strike again.
Burley didn't like it. So Suter jumps out ahead very quickly on Rick Burleson.
The two-strike pitch. Struck him out. Suter strikes out Burleson. National League wins it by the score of 7-6. So that's the final score there, and look at that National League bench. A happy bench.
There's
Dave
MVP,
Parker,
Joe.
who has been voted the most valuable player, and he really did it all. Mostly a defensive play, guys.
Well, he had an intentional walk, one infield hit, sacrifice fly, a strikeout and a fly ball, but the great throw home, 2 assists is what did it for him.
So the National League continues its dominance. Tom, we saw some pretty good pitching, but that play at the plate has to be the key play.
Well, I think obviously the key play of the ball game, Dave Parker with that tremendously strong arm. And remember also, not only the play at the plate, that when he threw Jim Rice out going to third base with nobody out in the inning, that would have been another run for the American League. So he not only did he drive in a run, I believe he cost the American League a couple of runs with his defensive play. Years for the
United Airlines.